Hello, 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 everybody. I am your androgynous AI game show host from the future, Caster, and this is the Neon Caster Twitch channel. Thank you very much for joining us once again for another session of Chant of the Void Sea, a lo-fi crime drama about terrible people doing terrible things, sometimes for the right reasons. We are on session 3, titled Signal from the Noise. I have our wonderful players and guests with me once again. We're going to introduce them top to bottom from what you can see on screen. First of all, we have the one and only Tom Greenwood. Hello.
Hello. Happy April 7th to everyone.
Is that a specific day in every day has a day,
for someone.
You know? It's a national sandwich day out there, right? I'm sure April 7th is good for something. But yes, thank you for joining me once again. We have the illustrious Ruben Ferdinand in the building.
Tank fly, boss walk, jam, nitty gritty. It's me, the boy from the big bad city. Hi.
Hello, welcome. I hope you are ready once again to be both incredibly hype and incredibly sad as this only two and a half, 3 sessions in, and already this is the energy we have set ourselves. I hope you're ready.
I wouldn't have joined otherwise.
Perfect. Coming at you from the Come and Go Tavern in Vania, please welcome Sheena Ornthalis.
Hello, weary travelers, and welcome back for more Chant of the Void Sea. Glad to be here.
What's the special today?
Oh, goodness gracious. Today's special is going to be probably just a 3-cheese garlic bread with a sort of tomato sauce bisque. And I've got my own sort of mix of non-alcoholic juices and various like citruses and grapes and all that sort of fun stuff. You could get it hard if you wanted to, but you know, that's everything around Come and Go.
Solid menu. Unfortunately, all that we serve in this campaign is black coffee. Hey, it's a good roast. I'm taking mine decaf today, but
True, fair enough.
And last, but by absolutely no means least, we have the fabulous Captain Comic Geek. Welcome back once again.
Hoi hoi, I am your faceless, I guess technically not nameless since you just named me, entity of the internet. I might not be a real person, who knows?
You know what? I love that perfect blue energy from both of us. Are we real as performers? Who could possibly tell?
Also, fun fact, there is no specific holiday tied to today. So if you would like to make one, now is your chance.
So
Well.
in the year.
I mean, this could be Void Sea Day. I don't know whether we could make it. I don't know whether we could make it catch on. Although, Captain, you did reveal recently that you are a bear. So I do know a fragment more about the corporeal person behind the voice on the other side, and we love and appreciate you for
You
that.
don't know if that was true or not. I could be making anything up.
Fair enough.
He could be an otter.
Who are we to categorize our performers in such a fashion? I know that I don't sit in any of them as a digital entity. I'm built like a non-Euclidean Ken doll down there, so I don't know how many people would be into that.
Built different.
Yes, literally built different. Indeed. As we go and let the credits roll on this side of the performance, just to let you know, actually for everybody who's tuned in already, I hope our audio levels are appropriate. I know that you are all delightful listeners, and we'd love to see you here every time that we run one of these shows, especially since it's monthly, so it's not necessarily a regular thing, and I appreciate y'all showing up. What I also appreciate is folks letting us know if the audio is okay. If at any point, if the audio is not okay, please do let me know, because if I listen back to it later and there's issues with the audio, I'll be so very sad, and then, you know, you'll feel guilty about making a digital entity cry. Thank you so much. We have all our bits and pieces going. I think we are ready for some action. So let's go and pass it over to the gameplay. Okay, that is working correctly.
There we go.
Yes. It can take a second. Let's. Oh, I mean, you know, to do our intro, we need some jams. So let's go with this one.
Okay.
Ahead.
All right. Hello, people of Duskval. You're listening to the smooth sounds of Golden Hour Radio. I'm your host, AU, and I'm gold, baby. Your monthly dive into our deep-roasted lo-fi crime drama has been brought to you by the fine folks at Phantom Arts Entertainment. It's probably not a surprise, but listeners, there's a presence haunting Duskval. Members of Smile the Widest and, well, a whole lot of ordinary folks witnessed a man explode into nothingness. And now everyone from the cops to the supernatural cops are trying to get to the bottom of what the hell just went down. A whole lot of noise is sparked from that silence. Laborers are murmuring about the watchful eye of the police obstructing their operations. The traditions of ocean magic are rumored to have more turbulence beneath the waves than first thought. The hardest of men are looking slightly more closely at the shadows in the corners of the room. Duskval's underground is hurtling towards a paradigm shift, and everyone's desperate to avoid getting screwed, so watch your back, listeners. Before we drop the needle and get things started, a reminder. This is a story about terrible people doing terrible things, sometimes for the right reasons. Will likely be hidden themes of fictional religious politics, paranoia, branding rituals, police corruption and violence, sensory deprivation, pointed bloody violence, misophonia, and hypersensitivity. Now that's a whole lot, so take a break when you need to. Settle in, brew a coffee, light one up, I won't tell nobody. You're locked into Chant of the Void Sea. And now, a classic Void Sea segment for spilling the tea for your consideration. Aunt Angie's Gossip Hour. I beg of you, roll 20. Okay, there we go.
Good evening, dearies, and welcome to Aunt Angie's Gossip Hour. Right between the news of the night and your favorite soaps. We are here to talk tea and maybe spill it too. On tonight's show, we'll be discussing the recent shifts in magic use around the city, the tantalizing dangers of art, and of course the scandal that's currently unfolding uptown. Before we get to that, though, I just want to thank our sponsors, Drink Tea, the only tea that uses patented Electrovox technology in its leaf drying and concentrating process. If you're feeling a little down, don't frown, just do a little trick and turn your day around with the electric power of Trick Tea. Now, let's get to the good stuff. I heard from a reliable source that ocean magic is on the rise, particularly in the Crow's Foot district. As a known supporter of the more modern electroplasmic style of doing things, you might think this might worry me, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Why, back in my parents' day, the ocean played an important part in our lives, and given how important the Leviathan hunting industry still is to our city, I still think it does. Of course, who's to say whether this very industry isn't to blame for the current state of things? I won't rehash the old rumors about the basis for electroplasmic technology because, well, they've all but confirmed over the last few years. The real question in everyone's minds these days is where this new form of magic is going and if it's going to replace the folk traditions so many people rely on, or simply extend them into the modern era. I have with me today Grant Reed, one of our favorite Umarels and a long-time observer of the Spark Rites. Grant, we haven't spoken with you in a while. How are the grandchildren?
Oh, they're doing quite well, Angie. Reginald came fourth in his last exams, and Clara has a piano recital coming up next week.
Ooh, fourth. Little Reginald is really moving up the ranks.
Indeed.
Well, in any case, I've had you on today to hear the latest about your favorite subject, the spark rights.
Ah, yes, of course. Well, where to start? As you all know, they've been bringing more and more light to our dim city as their craft becomes more accepted and accessible to us all. Why, I wouldn't be surprised if even Char Hollow's street lights were made fully electric by this time next year.
What about these new, what do you call them, receptacles? Any possibility they'll see widespread use soon?
They're called outlets, Aunt Angie, and that's really the interesting thing. When I first saw them, I figured they must be getting shipped to Brightstone. Only the best and newest for the fine people who rule our city, obviously.
Obviously.
But then I realized they were being sent to the public housing block. You know the one that's being rebuilt after that unfortunate fire.
I'm afraid I don't really get out much.
Yes, on 5th Street and Gable.
Yes.
Well, when I went round, I saw that they were in fact being installed in and around the new building there.
So tell me, what do these new outlets actually do?
There, you've got it. Now, they allow anyone, even a layperson, to simply disconnect their devices from the system. I have no idea what the limitations this puts on how much power they can deliver, but I suspect it's what the Sparkrights are trying to find out before they do a wider release.
Ooh.
In fact, I saw them hooking up some truly enormous speakers to the things. No doubt to push the limits of what these new outlets can do, to make sure they're both efficient and safe.
Well, we wouldn't want another unfortunate fire.
Too true.
Well, it's been lovely speaking with you, Grant. You've brought us some really interesting rumors about what's coming up next in electroplasmic technology. Outlets that let you just unplug things, really. Quite the convenience. Up next, we'll be talking about with Mabel... excuse me. Hold on. Does anybody hear that racket?
And with that, we resume Chant of the Void Same. We're gonna do it like this. We reconvene once again in the main dining area of the Golden Hour. The cafe, the coffee house that we all, as members and adjacency members of Smile the Widest, work in. Despite the pleasant atmosphere of a kind of a brunch hour, we do have some toast and a jam that is probably fruit, even though being able to afford such a thing would be, in this kind of neck of the woods, would be difficult. So you wonder what the substitutions had to be made are, but it still does taste good. Has a lot of sugar in it, at least.
It legally can't be called fruit, so it's not. But we don't ask questions because it tastes okay.
I mean, it's from my supplier. I'm not going to question where my supplier gets it. It's affordable and people seem to like it. You know what I mean? Who is having? Are all of you eating brunch, or are you just kind of sitting in a more tense mood than that?
Reed is sitting upright, just perfectly still, schoolroom posture almost, and simply not touching their plate of food.
Dash looks like she's pushed her food around the plate a few times. They'll be meticulously keeping her hands clean as she's reading through a book on... It's probably hard to tell, the cover's leather and faded, and though certainly one of her better ones from the collection. There's a look of concentration on her face for what's going to no doubt be an incident coming up soon.
Meanwhile, I think Adelaide has cleaned his plate. Very much a workman's appetite going on.
It's going to be a big day.
Celebratory pat on the stomach.
You hungry, blacksmith?
I don't think Blacksmith is eating anything. I think his chair is pushed a little bit back, so his sledgehammer is kind of upended in front of him, and he's just kind of resting his hands and chin on the end of it.
Mm-hmm. As per usual, AU Arthur Uxley, current proprietor of the Golden Hour and Electrovox DJ, sits with his black cup of coffee and his also slice of jam-covered toast. I appreciate you still being on the case. It has kind of ended up being continually more complicated than I would have liked. But I think if we manage to get some grounds into this, could be pretty I don't know, beneficial. Like the value of the information alone, you know what I mean?
Dash will close the book with a snap. So what we've encountered so far seems unprecedented. She'll then go back to musing, sort of drumming on the cover of the book somewhat, still toying with the thoughts.
Yeah. Well, as we're still digging into the situations, detective work and tracking takes time, innit? But we do actually have two pretty big leads. So, as I understand, that detective on the blue coats, like Islington, said that it took an expert level amount of ocean magic to do that incident back at the Renaissance Roast, and then he glances towards Blacksmith. You said that you had an inside source that put a name to the face of that guy, Ben Whitworth.
Not just a name, but where he is.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh, well, I mean, that's perfect. We definitely need to go and pay him a visit. In fact, it's the ligature, which I believe is like a workshop that works on like typewriters and maybe some Electrovox stuff, which, not to necessarily throw an additional request on you, mate, but if you're going to go down there to go and gather some information and see if that lead pans out, I think, to be honest, working with a distributor of like Electrovox parts could be pretty good for us, right? We, since we're no longer slinging our special menu, he says with some hesitation, trying to find the right way to put the euphemism on it, finding a different source of income, of being able to sell parts for radio enthusiasts might be a way to get us out of the hole. So, if you are going to be going down there to go and follow up on that Whitworth guy, would you mind speaking with the owner and seeing if you can set up some links? Please?
Maybe I should bring someone with me who can achieve that.
Yeah, no, I guess that's a request to the table then, if you wouldn't mind. He looks a bit sheepish. Yeah, I'd appreciate it. We got, we got somebody coming around for their, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, for their protection fees the other day. And I can pay it, we covered it. But since we're not the kind of crew that deals in muscle, I can't necessarily tell him to fuck off. So being able to have ways to pay for that on the regular would be nice.
Hold one quick question from me, the player.
Uh-huh.
The Forge, would this not be part of their territory with their ties to the Smile the Whitest?
Sure.
Okay. So upon hearing that, you see the blacksmith he's been tense this whole time because of all the crap that's happening. I think you see him get visibly angry.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Oh, so, as I recall, actually, fucking hell, it took me a second to kind of recognize, but I'm putting two together. They called themselves the kind of like he's gesturing around the Smoke Wolves, but that's just they just fucking rebranded, innit? They were the Foghounds before, and then they tanked their reputation, and they've had to rebrand in basically the same fucking aesthetic as before. But yeah.
Not even a particularly good rebranding, is it?
Well, I mean, no. But when you're in the circumstance when the wait staff here aren't exactly keeping themselves strapped, and our leading man, to his credit, is busy on a very important matter, I wasn't able to go for force, and I didn't want to distract you while you were getting to the bottom of things, blacksmith. So, had to shell out the money.
I'll deal with them.
Will you now?
Yes.
Looking.
I've done it once before, and now they insult me by encroaching on my territory.
Getting a little warlordy there. Remember, no casualties.
There's like a nervous looking back and forth between Reed and Blacksmith as that exchange goes, and AU kind of like sparks nervously. Yeah. To kind of put things back on track, sorry to distract. Yeah, if you're going to go to the ligature, I'd love for you to, in addition to finding out who the fuck Ben Whitworth is to see if they're up for doing a bit of co-commerce, you know what I mean, cross promotions, all that wheeling dealing. But I guess in the more present matter, looking towards Reed, it's a worship day for the Weeping Lady, right?
Hallelujah. It is. And the church is, well, I've been confused by the church's recent entry into Electrovox magic. So I suppose we can pay our visits, pay our respects, and do some god digging around.
Yeah. As I recall, Christine, the person who owns the Renaissance Roast, still not open. Actually, it's fucking travesty.
I also haven't seen her a lot in the church, so I'll have to talk to sister.
Yeah. I mean, I have no reason to assume that she isn't a pious lady. So if she's around, maybe go say hi. Plus, with the word on the streets being pretty heavily concerned about ocean magic as of late after what happened, there might be some additional gossip that we could hear. I don't know. See what you can find.
Part of my battle, at least, is to make people understand that there's nothing wrong with a little bit of ocean magic. Used to save their lives. Used it to save a lot of lives. Hey, I'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
This is probably the most like energetic or like spirited you've seen Reed in your short time of knowing them.
The like your vocal demeanor did not change, but your posture did, and that suggested volumes. I get you. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you. I mean, you're kind of the way that you've been kind of contracted with us doesn't necessarily frame you as an investigator, but I appreciate you sticking an oar in.
Of course, that is, after all, part of. And hold on, let me look up what it was called. That's part of the duty of bearing the pity, right? That is what it means to be a worshipper of the Weeping Lady. We all bear other people's pities.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for bearing our piece. I don't necessarily like framing myself as especially pitiful. We put in a lot of fucking work to make sure that we get to help out others instead of having to be helped out ourselves. But
Don't we just?
And with that, oh yes, go ahead.
Dash will perk up, having seen the mood shift slightly. Bask, Dash is going to accompany you to the ligature. If it is this entity and it's something more than just a man, I don't think it'll be something that we can just resort to violence with.
I think you're right, and I would welcome your company.
Marvelous. And with that, we move to the map of Doskvol. We've got a couple pins in already, letting people know what's up, what's going around. We currently are at the golden hour in the docks. The main church of the Weeping Lady is all the way out in Brightstone, over here. Those pings are going through. Marvelous. But also, we'll be looking into the ligature at some point at Crowsfoot. Down here. For now, though, since it's a service in the earlier side of the morning, we're going to be heading to Brightstone first. Give me just a second to go and retrieve a text, an apocryphal text necessary for the circumstances at hand. What do you say to each other on the train while I'm obtaining the holy documents?
We're all going to Broadstone together.
For those who are actually, tell me who is traveling to Brightstone, and then chat amongst yourselves as you sit on the tram.
I think Reed takes blacksmith, takes Bask outside, and goes like, "I trust you, and I mostly trust Dash not to screw things up at the ligature. So, if you'll permit me, your bodyguard is going to visit the Weeping Lady." Just kind of like, doesn't even phrase it as a question, just like, "I'm going to do this thing," and walks off.
I'm more stunned that you are implying you're my bodyguard. Bass doesn't say anything. I don't think he had any intent to go up there.
Yeah, I think that was like the sting, the jab they wanted to put in there.
Be a slight chuckle from the door. Where did you find them, Bask?
They were given to me by our, what would be the word for him? Benefactor. That's the word.
Yes, of course. Well, at least we've got a nice, pleasant journey to the area. We need to have a little chat, though. Dash needs to have a word with you about Henley.
And I need to talk to you about some other matters, so...
I don't know. Glance behind. Adelaide was with us. Wasn't it? What's are you fancying joining, or are you joining the morning service?
Well, I'm not exactly a religious bloke myself, but I don't know. It's a little disturbing to me that we might let Reed just kind of go off on their own. But yeah, then again, it's a service for their beliefs, then maybe that's for the best. I don't know. I was going to ask them before they left, but well.
You can see Reed stand awkwardly near a tram station, and the tram is arriving, but they are. You can tell that they are not doing quite the "I'm walking along so I don't have to walk as far to a door," as if like I'm having my back turned, but.
If you don't want him going alone, hold on. Reed.
It turns around a little too fast. Yes.
You should go get Henley.
Where is he?
He should still be at the forge. You should take him with you. Have eyes watching your back.
All right. I'll take the dog out for a walk.
Marvelous.
All right.
And with that, we find ourselves in Brightstone. And it's most days in Doskval still sit within the realms of twilight. The sun is weird in this circumstance, but still, the air feels clear, and the streets are busy, and people are just getting on with their day, almost as if they haven't seen ominous presences ruin their lives on a regular basis. Though lucky for them. Also, Henley is with you.
I think, where are we exactly in Brightstone?
I think this is you. We see you just as you step off the tram, in the kind of like main plaza in Brightstone. There's like a big kind of roundabout here, and you can see the top of the kind of like spires of the main church of the Weeping Lady, off a couple blocks away. It's not far.
Mm-hmm. I think Reed just goes. So, Henley. This is after probably the quietest and most awkward silence and tram trip ever.
Mm-hmm. Henley said nothing the entire time.
You got something to pray for?
Well, I don't know. I guess I feel like it's selfish to ask for something small.
Well, that's what the Weeping Lady does, right? There's all of our little pities.
Yes, but I suppose it's silly, but like so many things are like finite, right? There's only so much coal in the world, so much clean water, only so many trees. And it feels like every miracle you ask for kind of denies somebody else something, right? So I only really tend to ask for the big stuff. Although I might ask them to keep an eye on Bossman. I think he might need it.
Henley? There's like a teacher tone to their voice. On top of a mountain sits a castle. In that castle lives a king. We cannot pick up the mountain to move the castle. Neither can we pick up the castle to move the king. We see what the king gives us. Do you understand this?
He opens his mouth, and then his breath catches. No, but I'll think about it.
Think about it the next time something comes your way.
Yeah. And shoves his hands in his coat and just kind of like shuffles over towards the building.
By the way, hats off inside. And Reed walks in without removing their mask.
Uh-huh. yeah, whatever. And follows you in. Let's go around the table real briefly. What's one thing about the kind of like area outside the church? Like, what does the exterior of the building look like, maybe? Or what kinds of people are going to the daytime service? Any kind of bits of additional flavor for the Church of the Weeping Lady that we would like to add?
I think there's 6 like tall sort of like rock pillars, but with glass panes diagonal that refract the morning light in just like the exact way you described. That makes it look that much grander.
Mm-hmm. Dash, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I might add there's probably extremely well kept areas of greenery around the edge of the church where the local parishioners have been coming and putting in a bit of volunteer time. After I think of a particular flower that'd be fitting, that might more be a Reed question.
Which flower?
Yeah, if they're growing plants in and around the building.
Or is it just cabbages?
I think actually it's strangely monastical. So cabbages and some herbs that can be used for like medicine, like traditional medicine.
There's a lot of lavender growing around here.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Smells nice. Like people like to take the long route to work just to sniff the lavender, I think.
Mm-hmm. Any details you want to add, Blacksmith Adelaide?
I got something. I think to the main entrance, there are what's not the priest, but like the clergy, if you will. Not like members, but like people who work within the church. They're outside. They're in their like robes, and I don't know why, but in my head, they are holding like almost like an incense burner from a Catholic procession, but it's just like a small fire to kind of greet everyone in, and like you can throw something in there to like as a sacrifice to like, you know, to help like make it smell nice or to wish for something kind of thing.
Oh, I like that. People tend to bring like tiny little scent pouches with them, and then they'll throw them into these little incense burners that are being carried by members of the church outside the door, and we see like big plumes of different like colored smokes. This one's very sandalwoody. This one has kind of like a jasmine, a honey scent to it. This one's very minty.
And to me, it's the same symbolism as, like I said, as with Catholics. Like when you before you sit down, you genuflect and make sign of the cross. I think it's that kind of same thing for entering. This is a process that they do. Like you definitely prepare this. This is not random, and you don't think of this last minute.
Yeah, the people of maybe across the week have been building their scent pouches quite intently with specific amounts and combinations therein. Adelaide?
Yes, I think that part of the architecture of this building is, I'm going to say proper gargoyles, which is to say that, you know, not merely like demonic statuary, but things that are designed to catch rainwater and distribute it in an attractive way. And so in this case, there are like part of the statuary is, you know, sort of graven images of the titular weeping lady, but no two are the same. And so the outlets, the spouts of them are built into kind of the eyes. And so the water flows down as if they were tears down the statues.
Oh, I love that.
And like a detail I'll add is that there is a lot of motif of circles and of the number 8 across this, like the architecture, the way that the plants are grown, how many windows are across each face of the wall of this building. It's all done with a very specific geometric intention. And the camera kind of moves from street level upwards and then tilts down to kind of look at this area from above. And it's circles within circles within circles in a very carefully done display. One wonders how long it would have taken to make something like that.
I'd like to imagine that with the refractive panes of glass and the like beams of light hitting the colored smoke from the sensors, then mixing with like the rainwater. It's like rainbows within that entrance. There's like it is a very nice smoke and mirrors effect.
It is genuinely beautiful. So crafted. It's not effortless. It's never effortless to be this beautiful. And so we move inside. It is as per the outside, actually very, very artfully designed and displayed in here also. There are rows of seats It's as this graphic suggests, actually, it's a circular kind of area. The main kind of like pulpit is in the middle of the room, and all the kind of pews are slightly curved so they can sit also in concentric rows radiating out from the middle. On the kind of like altar in the middle of the room, there are 4 musicians who are all patiently sitting with instruments alongside them, a zither, an oboe, a tabla, and a harp, all elaborately sculpted and engraved. And the yes, we do have him. The Reverend of the Church of the Weeping Lady is also there. Reverend Bergamot.
I think, like, is it crowded in the church?
No, it's got a reasonable, like, it's definitely populated, but it's not. Rather than it being crowded or empty, what you do feel is the kind of people that are here. They are all quite well-to-do, in fact. They're definitely people from this side of town, residents of Brightstone, and maybe even from the isle across the bridge where the incredibly luxurious people reside.
I imagine there's like a shopkeeper who's like, Reverend, my gardener, I've seen him visiting a union coffee shop. What do I do?
Well, you ask that very interesting question. It does not happen immediately. In fact, you can tell there are people that are eager to ask questions of the Reverend, and they are waiting very patiently for an opportunity to do so, because confiding to the Reverend with your problems and having the small mercies of the Weeping Lady blessed upon you is a large part of the weekly service. A part of the weekly service we will indulge in now. So for this scene, we're going to have as many people who want to be involved in this. I would love every player to kind of take on a person. They can either be a named existing character or somebody we have made up for the scene. And you're going to be asking the Reverend a question. Hold on a second. Okay. Let's see. I haven't actually decided on a voice for the Reverend yet, so we're gonna feel this out. I suppose there is a long kind of drawn out. There's funnily enough, for those who've played Final Fantasy X, I do believe there's a character called Owaka who is like a traveling salesman, and he has this very kind of stilted and long, drawn-out way of speaking, and I think that's what we've got it now. We've got it. Marvelous.
You speak Albert?
That is unfortunately not in our curriculum within Doskville. There are a few international students, but the university is not here. Okay, thank you, everybody, for once again sacrificing the hours in your day to travel to the Church of the Weeping Lady and confiding yourself to the small mercies. As part of our service, as per usual, I will open it up to the floor for those who want to lighten the load that sits upon their very heart, that makes their days grey and onerous, in the hopes that we can provide some relief.
Does anyone else want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go.
Mhm.
Sure. You see a fine mustachioed man raise his hand and stand up. Hello, I'm Jules Tannenbaum.
Welcome.
I'm worried. I'm so concerned about the events happening around the city. Does the church have any insight on how we can best protect ourselves and strengthen our faith in the church?
Okay. Excellent question. The way this scenario is going to work is that as we answer these questions, after we answer all 4 questions, one from each of you, we'll think about how the magic balance of the setting will change. So asking kind of prodding questions about things like this is a very good way to kind of change the outlook of magic within Duskfall. How you can protect yourselves? Well, as a member of the Weeping Lady, I do feel that community and finding solace in your brethren is one of the best ways to stand strong. A single grain of sand at the beach will be easily washed away, but as part of a larger beach interlinked within an ecosystem, we can stand strong. We are moved by the tides, but we are not broken. We are one entity. However, in those instances where you feel you have to protect yourself separately from the larger whole, we offer a teaching, a philosophy of avoiding violence where possible, rather than turning to the hammer or the sword to protect yourself. It is about planning and carefully curating a sanctuary for those and those you care about. Keeping yourself safe and keeping others safe requires a bulwark. Thank you. The man falls, the Reverend falls silent, feeling that he has answered the question.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Is
As Reed?
No, as a player. Is
Oh.
Christine Tate in the crowd? Or in
She
the-
is. She is here.
Does Reed see her?
Sure. Unless she's literally sitting behind you, the shape of the room makes it pretty hard to hide from other people. Almost like a panopticon. How strange.
No, Reed has been like circling the platform the entire time. Henley, they put somewhere was like sit down, and Reed has naturally become part of this oration from Bergamot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Reed does have a question.
Okay.
Esteemed Reverend Bergamot, your teachings and your wisdoms have enlightened so many non-faithful, the fateful, and soon to be transcendental. But I must ask, in the presence of everyone gathered here and in the light of recent events, how does the church respond to Sister Tate's, and they point at Tate,
Mm-hmm.
let it hang for a little bit, dealings and ocean magic's not even known to the church.
Mm.
And this is definitely an attempt to accuse Tate of something.
Well, first things first, Christine Tate looks mortified. She opens her mouth to protest, and then clearly thinks better of it. And instead, she's standing, and instead just kind of places her hands in front of her and in a kind of rigid position, not looking at Reverend, but also not looking at the floor, just kind of braces herself to be addressed. Ah, I indeed did hear about the unfortunate events going on in Crowsfoot 2 days ago. It saddens me deeply to know that a member of our flock was involved in such unfortunate affairs. I do, in fact, know Ms. Tate. We have spoken before, and she was very passionate about being able to provide 2 members of the community through her cafe. I had previously suggested that she may have turned to the medical arts, but she remained firm that the way that she could help those communities was by providing succor in a different fashion, which I am respectful for.
I must beg for another question, Reverend.
Bergamot looks at you, and you realize that there was, well, even though there was a pause, there was a but coming. However, if I understand what befell the venue was a dark, twisted reflection of what we hold dear. It is times at this that our faith is tested. Our ways of being able to heal and help the community has been shown in a dangerous and ugly light. And I hope that we as a community, we as grains on the sands of the beach, can work together to restore our image.
And I think Reed just raises their arms and says, "On the mountain, a castle, on the castle, the king."
Bergamot solemnly nods and says no more, feeling that he has sufficiently answered the question. Dash or Adelaide, would you like to summon a little guy to ask a question?
Yeah.
I'll pass.
You got something?
First.
Oh,
All yours.
Okay. Just to double check myself, from the way that the Reverend is speaking, it sounds like the church is very based around ocean magic. Is that correct? Or do they want to be away from ocean magic?
So, how to put this? It's not a role. This is just a kind of thing that people will know. One of the services that the Weeping Lady provides is medical attention assistance. And that is poultices and kind of like that kind of apothecary style medicine. But there is also the idea of using magic to be able to heal people. As the instruments have been playing the entire time this sermon has been going, and those elaborately carved instruments just radiate this sense of waves of calm, like ocean waves lapping against the shore of the audience. There is definitely magic here. It might not necessarily be understood by the common person, but if you were to ever get into the philosophy and politics of the Weeping Lady, discussing magic will be part of it.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that the kind of question in my little funny little guys thing made sense.
Beautiful.
All right, so we get a sort of a person who is as wide as he is tall. Stands up. A very, very respectable businessman vibe from this guy. Bowler cap held nervously in his fingers, and he says, "Due to recent events, I've had to have some rather frank discussions with my gardener about, what sort of methods have been used to encourage the plants to grow under our current circumstances. And I felt it would be perhaps prudent to investigate some of those electroplasmic lights that have become very popular for the fruit trees and things down south. But the gardener insists that the old, more traditional methods are still the best. How should I navigate this, Reverend?"
Reverend Bergamot turns to the individual and nods in thank you. Yes. In the modern times within Doskvol, we are seeing a new era of people finding ways to live in our current society. New technologies, new philosophies. I do not deny that on the surface, these new methods of being do seem convenient. However, through the texts of the Weeping Lady and those before her, there is the joy and exaltation of practice, of pattern, of ostinato, the crafting across times, across days, across even generations, being able to make something stronger, more radiant than a simple solution. I have nothing but respect for those who are in arcane academia, who are trying to find new methods for us to grow and prosper. But I do find them, he smiles, easy. And nothing good comes out of being easy.
Thank you, Reverend.
I do believe I have time to answer one more question within this service before we break for tea.
Well, I do feel I've got something to say. It'll be a very red gentleman, similarly greatly mustachioed, probably with a very dull-looking wife pulling on his sleeve, going, "Darling, no, don't." And then looking very embarrassed. "Bro, hearing things was with Godric Tillinghast. I've been here a few times, and what do you think about the government putting whale chemicals in our water supply? I've heard it's a very, very reliable source."
Mr. Tillinghast.
Godfrey, please.
There's a pause. Mr. Tillinghast. I think you'll find that if you, I think you'll find that if you return to the scriptures and read the chapters on the original Leviathan, you will find your answer. He says, already kind of like adjusting his robe, like he's going to remove it and to switch into something else. Some of the members of the kind of like orchestra have like slowed down their playing and they're starting to kind of like put away cases or put away papers. Yes, it's a matter that many enlightened minds are considering deeply, but unfortunately we do not have any further time, Mr. Tillinghast. If you do have any further questions, please do consider submitting a letter.
Bloody knew it, I'll say, sitting back down.
Yes, well, Unfortunately, as I am only a facet of the Weeping Lady, there is a finite number of small mercies I can provide as part of today's service. He turns. It's almost. He doesn't, because there's nowhere to turn away from the audience. They are surrounding him. He looks up. For those who are listening beyond the walls of the Church of the Weeping Lady, we thank you for tuning in and for subscribing to the Ocean Ostinato. Good afternoon, everybody. And everybody stands up and starts to file away from the space. Fucking Tillinghast.
Sorry.
No, that was great. That was great. That was very funny. Yes. Hold on. This one. Okay. Thank you very much for offering your questions to this particular session of the Ocean Ostinato, apparently. Now we've heard questions that people have been asking the church, and the kind of responses that Reverend Bergamot is giving. How do we feel about the magic balance? I would like everybody to kind of personally consider first whether after that you think the magic balance has moved more towards Electrovox or more towards Ocean. I'll give you some 30 seconds to kind of like think about it. And then after you've thought about it, I would like you to type in Electrovox or Ocean into the Roll20 chat, and on my command hit enter. So give yourself some time to think about it. I'm going to go and early. I was not thinking I would put more strain on my voice than this. I'm going to go and pour myself a glass of water really quick. Give everybody a little while to think about their options.
I like to imagine that the guy with the gardener and Mr. Pendergast just kind of like naturally fall into conversation together.
Thus the conspiracy that Stochastic has implanted like brainworms spread. Yeah, the business class.
Turns out that ocean magic is staying hydrated, kids. Okay.
I mean,
Don't drink the ocean water, no!
Oh yeah, no, less hydrating. Okay. Has everybody had a thought about their shift?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I see we've got that all typed out into the chat. Feel free to hit enter on your decision in 3, 2, 1, post. Ooh, big swing towards Ocean. Tallied up, that is +2 towards Ocean.
Poseidon wins today.
Okay, we're gonna notch that up by 2. Hopefully this works correctly. Yes, it did. Wonderful. How do we feel about that service in general?
That's sick.
very fun.
Experimental,
Yeah.
but yeah. People have started milling out of the space. Some of them to go home and return on with their day. Some of them to retire to an area within the Church of the Weeping Lady. There is the Recovery Lounge, kind of a bit of a fusion of a medical clinic and Turkish tea house. Henley looks, he turns to you. Was this everything you wanted to do?
No. Henley, now we begin. And Reed strides into the recovery lounge and actually stops and gets very close with, I think, the moon part of their mask and says, "Keep an eye on Miss Tate."
Yeah, okay.
I singled her out earlier. We need to keep her close, and then I would like to have another word with her. You make sure she doesn't go anywhere I can't find her.
Yeah. All right, no worries. It looks like she's making her way through to the lounge anyway. Actually, you can see her kind of like milling over,
Good.
and
Keep her, and Reed is looking for the right word. Keep her worried.
okay. He raises an eyebrow, like, the fuck does that mean? But he doesn't say that. All right. Okay. And we move over to the recovery lounge. What jams do we have for the recovery lounge? Sorry, I'm like, how spooky. It's supposed to be relaxing, so I can't make it too spooky.
Start out non-spooky.
Yeah. It might get spooky, right? Sure.
Just wait for someone to start talking, and then the mood will change. It'll be fine.
Uh-huh.
Reed has opened their mouth.
We're gonna hit this then. Nice. Okay. So, the recovery lounge. There are, in general, people here. Reverend Bergamot, having switched into a robe that feels much more. It's not dressing gown-y. Like, it's not the same material or cut, but it does give a suggestion of well-tailored relaxation wear. It's not
Right.
informal. It is just designed for being able to sit down for an extended period.
So he's a ye olde Mr. Rogers right now.
Yeah. In fact, the kind of robe that Reed is wearing in the kind of character art, not too dissimilar. There is a degree of both formality and comfort to this that he's wearing.
Cool. I would like to, or Reed would like to sit next to him.
Meanwhile, Christine Tate sits in a corner and Henley kind of sits at the table, like one table over, and just kind of keeps an eye on her. Whereas Reverend is kind of like, sitting at one of the tables on the edge. You... sorry, we'll take that from the top. Mix Quadrature. It's, thank you for attending once another of our services. I hope that I can continue to be ever a standard that fits your requirements.
Your acts and teachings are ever worthy of notice and reconsideration, Bergamot. You've given me in my time at the church a lot to think about. In fact, it was you who bestowed upon me this mask, and for that, I'm, of course, forever grateful.
Yes. Well, I wanted to make sure that you could remain enshrouded by an ostinato, by the repeating pattern, wherever you go. It's what we both agreed was the right choice.
Yes, and I see the patterns in the city, and I see that not even our most holy of reverence can escape these same patterns. And there's like a tactical stirring. It's tactical drop of sugar and then stirring, just silence and the clank of metal against ceramic.
Okay.
Your robes, Reverend, seem to suggest more than simply reverend.
Well, I have considered making a more significant change to the amount of time I am devoting to the church. Like preempting an eyebrow raise that he obviously cannot see because you're wearing a mask, an increase, mind you. as my time on the ocean drifts further and further away from me. I feel. Yes?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I feel that instead I should be devoting that time and energy to more grounded pursuits.
Interesting. May I roll investigate religion?
Okay. I think you can do that. We are also going to make a clock for this because what's your end game here in your kind of like a conversation with Bergamot?
I want to bring up the dirt on his certain rounded expeditions, his spiritual vacations, shall we call them, and how they might not be in line with certain, like how they might be considered small mercies by the Weeping Lady, and have that sort of like religious blackmail as I push the conversation into Electrobug stuff. Okay.
Thinking of how we're going to name the clock for this. We are unearthing Bergamot secrets. That's fine. And this is a super complicated one, so we're just going to make it a 4-segment clock, I think. And we're going to go and put that on the token layer so everyone can see it. Does it have a name for everybody as well? Wonderful. Roll20 is behaving itself. We like this. So, as you continue to make rolls, this will increase or decrease or what have you. So you want to go and make an investigate.
And religion. To see, what's the rumor mill at the church in Duskfall? It's insane. No aunties, it's like you cannot escape their eye.
Sure. His defenses aren't up yet or anything like that, so this is going to be a standard. So, you get that 1d10 for free, and you get an additional d10 for each skill and domain you have relevant to the role.
I have 1 in religion, so I roll 2.
Okay, marvelous. Okay.
Oh.
Success at a cost. All right. Let's see how we're going to do this. You have been building up on, because of the way that ocean magic works, where you are taking on the pain to ease the pain of others, and you have not actually really found the time to ease the pain within yourself. So I do believe your mind stress is already quite high.
Yeah.
So, good news. You've definitely got him talking about it. So, the 1 segment is filled on Unearthing Bergamot's secrets. Bad news. I think you're being too direct about this. You normally play a bit of a dance when it comes to this. And he outranks you. He kind of has a hold over you by degrees. So you pushing is something that is kind of stepping out of line. Why don't you give me 1d3 mind stress, please?
Okay. That's 2.
Okay. I do believe, if I understand this correctly, we can click just the Fallout button here, and if that does that, did that take 8 within? Oh god, if it's the number itself. Hold on. I forget if it actually matches. I do think you do take stress.
Yes. If it matches, then I'm at 9 right now. So I get Fallout anyway.
Okay. So, you're going to take moderate fallout from this, but you do clear all of your stress.
Yay.
All right. As you ask this question, you start to feel warm. And then hot, like the temperature in here is just unbearable considering the mild day. You look around the room and everybody is continuing to kind of sip tea and enjoy the incense. So then why does it feel so uncomfortable for you?
Yeah.
And then you realize that it's your mask that's hot.
Ooh.
And Bergamot looks at you. Mixcotiture. We have been through a lot together. I have pulled many strings to assist you. And I do believe you could offer me a small mercy in maintaining some decorum. Please take the major fallout. The ritual of the mask.
Ooh. Real quick, where do I put that on my cartridge?
That's a good question. I assume it would be in your stresses. Yes, there is a section for fallout on the stress tab. So please put that in. It's a reputation fallout. So I can type it in actually, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah.
The ritual of the mask. Going against the lady hurts you. Roll 1d3 stress, 1d3 blood stress. When pushing back against dogma.
Let's see. Reed winces audibly, I think. Not per se because it hurts, but the signal I get the message. And continues. Of course, Your Reverend. I believed that my latest expeditions allowed me some liberties in our way of address and in discussing theological praxis. Thank you for giving me the insight and showing me the pity in my actions.
Oh, it's quite all right. Bergamot smiles.
I must, however, press the point. I did not single out Sister Tate for theatrics. I do worry about, well, what had occurred and the lack of response from our betters.
Indeed. The energy in the room is just different now. It's so calm, but you can almost feel how before the lapping of the tide of those performed instruments instead is now the feeling of a sea before a storm, hovering somewhere above or beneath you, just roiling there. This is maybe too intense for it, but to be honest, I think under your current position, I think tension is quite high.
I think from my POV, yeah, the heat radiating has this ambient harshness that I think sounds similar to this, yeah.
Right. Yes. Miss Tate, I had a conversation with her after the event. She came to me, in fact, after both speaking to you, which she recounted, and what happened to her establishment. She said a word that I thought I would not hear any members of the flock here mention in a very long time.
Which is it? Did she blaspheme?
She mentioned demons, Mix Quadrature.
Serious.
That is not something that is in any of the public texts. The books that we provide, the stories that we tell over and over so they are ingrained within the minds of our families. They are focused, quite intentionally, on the art of recovery and growth. They do not need to know that the ocean can be both calm and stormy.
Indeed. They need to know that those who hold power are captains. Captains of a unique flock. Not privateers from a different means.
But what concerns me, Mix Quadrature, is that you were there.
I cannot deny that. And I have been a part of an investigation into this very event.
He dismisses that. You don't need to give me excuses about your presence. Just that. If you being within Doskval, even with the mask on, and people are speaking of demons, that reflects poorly on you, Mix Quadrature. Please give me a resist religion. He's trying to blame this on you.
The bastard. Oh, I would love to resist religion. I have both both the pip and resist and religion, so that's 3.
Mm-hmm.
Any devil's bargains for my tableside compatriots?
Well, this is interesting. A devil's bargain could happen here if you want it.
Of course.
I think I'm personally good, but I will open it up to the table if anybody wants to make this harder for our poor medic.
I'm almost.
Oh, go for it.
I was going to suggest something along the lines of you get your bonus, but in your answer it throws more shade onto another member of the team.
That makes sense.
Smile.
Of the team. Interesting.
I don't have a specific suggestion, but to help maybe navigate some stuff, Henley is there.
Mm-hmm.
Henley, as we know, is in fact magical.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, would he notice and interfere in some way to benefit, but also cause more shit within the church for you?
So, allies can make rolls. They roll a flat d10. Sometimes there are bonuses if it's kind of working within a community or a location they have reputation in. And if those rolls do not succeed, there can be fallout. We'll put a pin in Henley for now. Let's resolve this roll first. Reed, would you like to take the suggested Devil's Bargain from Dash?
Do we mean the 4 PCs, or do we include everyone in Small the Widest?
I think you would get 1d10 on your roll, but if a member of Smile the Widest performs magic in front of a member of the church, they will immediately take 1d8 reputation fallout.
Interesting.
I will need to make a
I'll
note
take
of this so I remember it for me.
Me too. Yeah, no, I accept it. Thank you.
Okay.
Fucking shit, are you kidding me? God, Lord in
Hold
heaven,
on.
hallowed
Yeah.
be my name.
Oh no!
Ooh, that's a lower one.
on
That's
4d10. Fuck me.
That's a critical. That's more than a critical fail.
Yeah. Okay.
You love things going wrong, Ruben.
I think you take fucking 1d8. No, it's yeah. No. Hold on.
Even the GM's like, how do I hurt him?
You're taking 1d3 blood stress from your fallout, but I think that's exacerbated, right? So
Goes up a step.
yeah. Let's knock it up a step. Go and give me 1d6 blood stress, please.
Oh,
Okay.
a little singe.
Okay. You can roll for fallout, but I don't think you would get it. If you roll a 1, that would be very funny.
Don't test me. What did I
Challenge accepted.
Oh no. Okay. So a handful of things are occurring
so
here.
technically, that's 4 ones in a row.
So-
Help me, Lord.
You may have to abandon ship. This is looking real bad for you. Style the widest. Can somebody note down for me while I'm handling this that devil's bargain? If a member of the Smile the Widest performs magic in front of the church, they will take 1d8 reputation stress.
I'll add it to the doc.
Thank you. Okay. So yes. You take the 1 blood stress and then it's immediately cleared upon this fallout happening to you. I think we see, even though you are wearing red and dark red robes, a small trickle of blood fall from beneath the mask and kind of land on your collarbone.
Heavy is the pity given by the lady. And they are visibly, I think they're gripping the coffee table, and the trembling shows all the way through in whoever, in both their cups.
Mm-hmm.
Hi. Calming down.
If I continue to hear your name, Exquaditure, in the context of what goes on in the deep. He doesn't finish the sentence.
You will not need to. I will remain hidden, and no secret will get out. All mouths remain sealed.
Meanwhile, even though obviously, Blacksmith, you're not in the scene, I will have you, be Henley's little angel and demon on his shoulders right now. This goes on, and I think Henley, at the very least, glances over to Reed. They are sitting far enough away where he's not going to notice the drop of blood, especially on, non-color contrasted clothing, but can just kind of tell from Reed's body language that that they are in extreme discomfort. What do you want Henley to do?
If he doesn't see the blood, he's just going to run up to Reed to interject of are you okay? Do you need help? What's going on? Kind of thing.
Okay.
And ready to throw down, but he won't be throwing a punch,
Yeah. I think if Henley decided to swing at Reverend Bergman, nobody would be leaving this room alive. We are going to make a 1d10 roll to see how well he does at intervening, since we have asked him for his aid.
Oh, little boy.
No.
Oh no.
Oh, he's
a bad scene.
takes after me so well.
Okay, I need to make a note that there will be fallout for Henley. Right.
This is an interesting one, given the flash to much earlier with Dash commenting to Bask, I need to have a word with you about Henley.
Yeah.
Henley, actually, Bask, would you mind briefly voicing Henley? It doesn't matter. You don't obviously need to do the same voice that I'm doing. Just be his dialogue for the. Yeah.
Just he'd run up and go, Reed, are you okay?
Immediately,
Do you need help?
Reed stands up, fully outstretched, and I think you see the blood drop just kind of shake off their mask and go this conversation was going fine. and then turns their direction to Bergamot. I apologize for this interruption. New initiates to the flock sometimes forget their station, but sometimes their seniors do too. Henley, we are leaving.
Okay. I do wonder, given Henley's things from before, like I think he's getting stressed. Would he glow a little bit?
Oh.
You fucking know it, baby.
Oh, fuck off. I wanna intervene. I'm fucking trying my best not to let that happen.
I think this kind of all happens at once. Because this is a failed roll, so something bad does have to happen here. Henley looks at Bergamot and starts to say, "What did you do?" And feels the air just vanish from his mouth as he tries to form words. And Bergamot grabs him by the wrist and like looks at his hand. It seems that you are also practicing the ostinatos, the chants, the mantras. Be careful that you do not sing for too long. I do not think you are well studied for it. However, there was a member of our service today who was considering moving to other techniques to look after his gardens. I suggest to you that you consider taking up work in his servitude instead of whatever Miss Quadrature has you doing. He lets go.
I am not having young Henley do anything. It's sometimes that.
Ooh, a little louder, please.
Oh, sorry. Sometimes, like I said, the flock acts on its own accord. I am having no hand in this child's education, but perhaps I should. Please excuse us as I go over some texts with young Henley.
Enjoy the rest of your day, Miss Quadrature.
As I leave, I'm not done. I know the kind of robes. I know sort of like where you hide shit in them. While Bergamot is holding Henley's hand, I want to sort of like awkwardly walk around them and put my hand on Bergamot, and in so doing, I want to try and rob him of whatever he might have on this person.
Okay.
Because I do not trust him.
I understand. I will say that this will be challenging, so it'll be one less d10. The negative consequences for laying a hand on this man is high. But if you would like to do this, you may. I'm just letting you know that there are consequences involved.
Let me think about this and give other people spotlight.
In that case, I think when the scene ends, we're going to go to break. Yeah. And while you kind of like are preparing to do this in kind of like slow motion, Henley being... Oh, sure. Henley has obviously heard everything that Bergamot has like said to him in terms of like you should leave whatever you're doing and go and become a gardener. What does Henley say in response?
Ooh. Honestly, I don't think he does anything in response. I don't know if he's got I think he grimaces. Like he definitely kind of stares him down, and I think it's the attitude of like, I'm going to tell the big boss and you will be sorry is the expression on his face.
That's exactly what Reed is worried about.
For his part, Reverend Bergamot does not look worried. Reed, what would you like to do?
We're in deep shit. Let's go with it.
Okay.
I mean, we're already so far down this hole. Let's find out how far it goes.
This religion thing, I'm getting some kind of bad vibes.
So this is going to be a challenging sneak religion, considering the domain we're currently in.
Yeah. I do have both of those, so I could have one. I have 1d10 in that.
Okay.
Hey, folks. Any devils around?
Yeah.
Actually, no. Let's not make this worse.
I have faith in this regard. This is going to be bad.
Oh my god.
What up? What's going on?
On the single D10. Fuck. Okay. Right. So,
Can I get a hallelujah?
You, I guess, steal something from him.
There was something in the session doc that I was very interested in.
Okay. Suggest me.
The medical almanac.
Yes, the Weeping Lady Medical Almanac. Sure. Sure. Yes. What I think is the circumstance here, because that's going to be too big for him to have on his person. It is, I think, he was carrying it and placed it next to him while having this conversation. And in this moment where he is distracted, you managed to swipe it.
Good enough. And I think with a 10, can I argue that I have a book to replace it with, so he doesn't realize that anything is missing?
Sure, that sounds good to me.
Cool.
If you want to give it a name of what the book is, you can. Otherwise, it's not important.
I think it's like coverless, but inside of the book is I think it's the parable of the mountain and the king.
Wonderful.
Phew.
Yes, you pick up the Weeping Lady Medical Almanac, and eventually, Bergamot lets go of Henley's wrist. I hope you've all enjoyed your tea and feel refreshed. Leave.
As always, Your Reverence, your actions require much scrutiny. And they take Henley and leave.
Wonderful. And on you gained a critical success. And funnily enough, despite the book that you took, it fills in the clock. How fortunate for you.
Ooh, you didn't win.
And on that, I think we need to go on a very well-deserved break.
Oh yeah, good boss fight.
Let's go and take 5 minutes, and then when we return, we're going to go visit the ligature. See everybody in 5.
Amazing. Yep.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. I hope you've all had opportunities to go and recenter yourselves after whatever the fuck that was. Oh no. It turns out this clergyman is incredibly sinister. This has never happened in any narrative before.
Shocking.
What a twist!
What a twist. I feel bad for Henley, to be honest.
I don't.
Oh, fair enough then. Fuck that guy.
I mean, I did put the chess piece there to be used. So.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. But with that delightful Sunday service concluded, we return to the map of Doskval. and we're going to be making our way over to a venue in Crowsfoot, a little place called the Ligature. Please. Okay, there we go. It's moved on in the day a little bit, and the Ligature is a warehouse and a number of warehouses among a number of warehouses. It's relatively near water, so at one point this may have been kind of like a loading or a kind of like cargo bay that has been now repurposed into workshops. And the three of you, Blacksmith, Dash, and Adelaide, can hear the sounds of industrious action. Let's say there is hammering, there is drilling, there are people yelling at each other as stuff is being moved around. It's a pretty bustling area within the buildings. The streets, however, feel weirdly quiet today.
I would say Adelaide is sort of magnetically pulled to the sounds of work. This feels more at home for him than some of the other locations we've been to so far.
This is what you know. Maybe not necessarily this specific industry, but there is an energy to industrious action. To
Exactly.
the literal blood, sweat, and tears of creating something great together. That sits with you.
Mm-hmm.
The Ligature, at least out front, has that kind of energy of a junk shop. In our modern era, outside of this narrative, you've probably seen this kind of place. A too small building that can fit a surprising amount inside, and yet the things it sells spill onto the street every day and are dutifully packed away at end of day, ranging from furniture to books to old electronics to strangely new electronics.
Fell off the truck, we swear.
Sometimes vintage, sometimes knockoff, sometimes handmade. It varies on day to day, but the people who know desire after this place as a way to find something treasured. As we approach the Ligature and see its range of displays of junk outside, everybody give me one thing that's kind of on display outside, noting that it's most famous for selling typewriters and manufacturing parts for Electrovox, but they could be selling anything out here.
I think there's at least one person who is selling like carrying cases for electrical box equipment. So stuff that is normally set up on a desk. It's a harness that you can then wear to bring it with you places.
The technology's not quite yet there yet. These things look bulky.
Like an original cell phone is basically a purse with a phone attached to it.
Oh yeah, like the this setting is so heavily anachronistic, where it's kind of like jazz age, but like the record players are more modern looking ones rather than like a wax cylinder, you know. I think the one that's like a portable speaker setup and like a vinyl player is a backpack that Blacksmith could carry. Would probably crush Dash. What else is being sold out here?
I'd like to add something. It's not exactly being sold, but more just a scene decoration. Sure. Up against one of the large warehouses is a section of scaffolding where they're installing probably one of the big Electrovox emitters, like signal station type things. Probably be some spark rights hanging around it, installing the mesh cages and the like, which used to dampen the effect that if you'd have a massive Electrovox fallout, wouldn't summon all the ghosts of the damned to the area.
These, were made initially back in the day when Electrovox a year ago and slightly before was becoming popular as a hobbyist method of practical magic, they were just made by people, individuals, hobbyists, and strapped to the tops of the tallest buildings that you could find, because that was the best way of getting a signal out. People weren't really talking to each other, so the frequencies that they were broadcasting sometimes layered on each other a lot, and there was a lot of a very law of the jungle kind of arrangement made on trying to not step on each other's toes, and sometimes intentionally stepping on each other's toes to make a point. And then eventually there had to be a discussion, because there are so many of these being built by people who are not standardized, who are not working with the spark rates to be able to make these properly and safely. So the spark rates had to kind of set up measures where, hey, you can legally set up one of these now. You don't need to make it a criminal activity, but you kind of have to do it our way to stop people from, causing damage, but also it's a new source of income for the spark rates in terms of being contracted to build these things. They look like they look like long antennas usually, like weird thin like metal filigree wire patterns that fractal out into the air.
I suspect that probably means there's also a member of the Spirit Wardens kicking about as well. Some sort of agreement between the two that when one of these gets turned on, you have a Ghostbuster on standby.
Not when you know Dash, no. But they clearly recognize you. But then who in Doskvol would not recognize Dashia Locklear?
Exactly. Who is probably looking a little self-conscious, given she's in full dress-up in the middle of an industrial district.
Mm-hmm. Don't get that dress dirty now. Adelaide.
Let's see. We are primarily focused on typewriters and a little bit and custom Electrovox stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, pardon me. This is going to be a little bit interesting. I think there is sort of one person off to one side whose specialty is re-inking used tape ribbons for typewriters. Like essentially, like they're focused on like recycling those old parts that most people would consider disposable.
Mm-hmm. It's a very handmade setup. Lots of welded together gears and cranks. It seems to kind of put the ribbon through this vat of some kind of shimmering black liquid. Liquid? It's kind of viscous. It's definitely not ink. Reed.
I think that there is got to be like an emerging or already existing, but kind of nascent, like hardware music, like DIY engineers. So maybe there's a bunch of side chaining panels so that at this stage, what electricity you're running through the speaker needs to be able to handle it. So there's a lot of thought going into the hardware of the speaker, but also the way you can lead electricity. So there's like side chaining capacitors that let you sort of like it makes electricity not overload systems that much. I think that's the best explanation.
There is one setup here, and it's kind of infamous for it. It was a happy accident that has now become like this place's like gimmick. It's like an izakaya style bar. It's pretty small, and a lot of people tend to sit outside. But during the winter months, the person who runs the izakaya is an audiophile and wanted to put a really big speaker setup in the place. Yeah. And in a bid to not overload the speakers because of where they were siphoning the electricity from, they put it into a bunch of like those vacuum tube style filament bulbs, which gave off an absurd amount of heat. But then they were like, oh, we can actually use that heat for a number of things. It keeps the izakaya warm during winter. And in some instances, it's actually kind of keeping the water hot and even operating the grill to a degree.
Music operated grill, hell yeah.
Oh yeah. To kind of really char something, you have to crank the speaker up quite high. It has gotten many noise complaints, but the folks here love it, so it's still open.
Imagine like the slam poetry trying to like make a rare steak with your verses.
Yeah. I have no idea what kind of genre of music this man is blasting to kind of operate his cooking, but it is definitely loud, whatever it is. And as we continue to walk through this district, we finally arrive at the ligature. And you make your way inside. And the scene that we have here is pretty apt to what the space is like. It is cramped in here.
Bosk is immediately looking for Ben. See if you can spot him.
Up front, this part is kind of more like a sales kind of thing. So it's mostly the stacks and the kind of cash register at the end. And there's clearly a door through to a back area. But yeah, you see one man at the very least. A weathered, but not necessarily negatively, in a kind of flat cap, and his fingers permanently stained purple-black with the amount of ink that he works with on a daily basis, who appears to be the foreman of the ligature. Oi, oi. What can I do for you?
Do you want to take this one or should I?
Boss would definitely go like, this is probably more your repertoire than mine. And maybe also do what AU asked of us since we're here.
Dash just gives a single nod, wandering off around the edge of the room, almost like she's, I wouldn't say sniffing for magic, but that's definitely what she's doing.
Sure. Why don't you go and give me... Under current circumstances, this is probably going to be an investigate technology roll, unless you pitch to me something different.
No, I'm fine with that. It's a relatively low impact one, so let me have a roll. So I've ticked the 2. I think that should work.
6. Okay. Yeah. The stuff here, you recognize bits and pieces from AU's setup back at the Golden Hour. These look rustic, shall we say, in comparison to some of the pieces that AU has. But you do understand at a layman's level what they're for. Nothing here looks like it would be able to do more than broadcast a voice across the air. At least out here. You then stub your toe on a stack and it makes a horrendous noise. Hey. Please try and look after the merchandise. You break it, you bought it, they say.
Dash understands.
Oh, shit. Miss Locklear?
The same.
Oh my god. I mean, fucking god, no, let's try and not swear in front of the celebrity. It's nice to meet you. I'm my daughter's a Fen.
Oh, an absolute pleasure. If you want me to sign something, if you want Dash to sign something, Dash will happily comply.
Fucking hell, really? Sorry. Yes, that would be, yeah, hold on a sec. And he goes into the back briefly. He's not going to be in above the table. He's not going to be gone for very long. But if somebody has something quick they want to do while he is currently not in the room, now would be a good time.
Is there a rotor or a Rolodex of some sort anywhere in this area?
You'd probably have to go behind the counter to get a proper hand at it, but yeah.
Then just at a glance, Adelaide will kind of like just check to see if Ben Whitworth's name appears anywhere recently.
Why don't you give me an invest in technology, Adelaide?
Yes, I'd like to invest in some technology.
Stocks? Great.
Have you invested in Leviathan coin yet? I hear it goes real deep.
Deep web.
Yeah. Cool. We made the same joke. We succeeded. The stream's over now. Yes, please give me an investigate technology roll.
That's not a thing I'm good at.
But you do have an ability.
Yep, hang on. Making sure, do I want to use that ability?
It is once per session, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go ahead and change the investigate to deceive.
Ooh.
Using, well, I declare you possessed. Oh, no, I actually don't have to do it that way, but functionally, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making use of my force of personality once per session. I declare that I possess a domain or skill that I don't actually have, and I am treated as having access to it until the end of the situation.
Marvelous.
Yep. So, functionally, I have access to investigate until the end of the session or the situation.
Yeah, I have no devil's bargains for you.
Okay. Anybody else?
None pop to mind.
No, certainly no.
So I am getting the one free die plus my die from deceive.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm rolling 2.
Oh. Ooh.
Wow.
Okay, marvelous. There is a punch card, like clock in, clock out thing at the back of the wall. And there is a bunch of like cubby holes with people's names scrawled on them. The handwriting isn't astounding. There is, I want to say, 10 slots here. It seems a lot of them have had the whatever name was currently on those slots, like removed or rubbed off. So you can see that there is a foreman, Cole Umber, which you assume you've already met. He's not introduced himself by name. There is a Ben Whitworth and 2 other people. And it seems this place has the capacity for like more than that, but there are no other names here.
Above the table, are we wanting to be obvious about who we're trying to find, or should we not name a name?
Oh, one other thing to note, I think. Since you rolled a critical success, you get additional information for free. Oh, sure. You can ask me one with that information. You get a follow-up question if you like, and then a bonus piece of information as a treat.
Well, let's see. I feel like we already. Is there information on what each of these people did?
Sure. It seems that most of the people who would be in the slots for like R&D are no longer here. There is one person in sales. There is one person in manufacture, who is Ben Whitworth. and there is another person in repairs. The piece of bonus information you notice for free is there is a additional there's a letter on the desk. It's been opened. You don't really have the time to read the letter because that would require you to obviously pick it up, and that would take too long. But you do notice that it is the letterhead of it is a rubber stamp of a bee in dark orange. It is both a business and a gang within Doskvol called the Hive. They are ostensibly a merchant guild. But that is both above and below the law. They operate in both spheres. They love being the only game in town.
Yeah, not a fan of them.
Hey, they've been offering the most jobs in Doskvol, so they say.
They can go to hell.
At the benefit of themselves. It's just concentrating the wealth in a different way.
And with that, Foreman Cole Umber comes back in with a vinyl record. It's one of those kind of like jazz standards. Obviously not a real world jazz standard. I don't think there's that level of overlap between the real world and this fiction, but it is Dash one that you've recognized. Not that you actually, is there a genre of music that Dash likes?
Ooh. I think Dash might be in the Lo-Fi Nightcore sort of vibe, I think.
Okay. So it is a percussion heavy jazz record that was previously, and this band's like deal is that they've performed the performance already and then re-recorded it at a much faster speed in a kind of like a Alvin and the Chipmunks kind of situation.
Gotcha.
But because it's so percussion heavy and they are cognizant of the effect of speeding it up, the performance is at octaves lower, so it sounds sensible at the correct speed. It's just way faster than could be possibly performed by human hands. And it is called yeah, it's the band is called the Crashing Waves. And pulls out this record, The Crashing Waves. I heard this was I think my daughter mentioned that this was the kind of music that you liked and has got into it since. So I think she'll be pretty ecstatic for you to sign this, if you don't mind.
A sort of pause as Dash sort of locks with the names of it, and her ability to sort of almost sense portents and foreshadowing. The level of precognizance that comes with being which Dash likes this choice. Very, very appropriate. Of course, just with a smile. If you'll give me a moment, I'll sign. I believe my colleagues do have a little bit of business with you to discuss. She'll start reaching into her bag and produced a small calligraphy brush with some ink.
Mm-hmm. As you kind of lean on a stack to kind of start signing it, a voice echoes in your head. My, you have fans far and wide. Good. You'll have to use this record in your next ritual. I think it will, you're giving this one back. Ah, that's a shame. Let's see if we can find one like it.
Yeah, a mental nod, I think.
Good. Hopefully you'll meet this lucky lady one day. I'm sure she'll be fascinated to see the magic up close.
They always are.
Meanwhile, yes, Cole turns to the other two. Yeah, Well, so you're, what can I do you for? He keeps glancing over towards Dash, and it's pretty evident that he's like, how do you know her? You do not look like people who should know this woman.
Well, my name is Adelaide Deepwell. I'm part of a team that represents the group that Ms. Dashia works for over at the. Oh my goodness, I've forgotten. It's at the Golden Hour.
Mm-hmm.
We were wondering if maybe y'all would be interested in a bit of a mutual relationship vis-a-vis some Electrovox parts. Our production studios and our broadcast equipment is quite a bit on the modern side, and while I can see that y'all are very interested in the more hobbyist side of things, perhaps there might be a way for you to expand your horizons with some of the equipment that we can provide for your audience and for your customer base.
That's fun. So let me do this. And oh no. Did I just break something? I don't think I've broken something. Okay, never punished. Cool. So this would be a 6-segment clock, as upon him being asked about striking up a deal on something, you can tell in his kind of expression and body language that he's gearing up to say no. And then he looks at Dashir and then at you again. It's a 4-segment clock now.
Love that for us.
Yeah. I must admit, our kind of recent working circumstances has meant that we are holding our cards a little close to our chest these days in terms of new products and that. But this could be a pretty lucrative opportunity. Maybe. I don't know. I want to hear more, I guess, at the very least.
Very well, very well. So we're looking to sell equipment. I'm not trying to dig into your business. I respect the fact that y'all have a lot of very interesting things going on down this way. We want to, we've got a pretty long experience in the Electrovox world as far as the hobby is concerned. We were broadcasting before it really began to spread.
Yeah. No, I heard
Golden Hour.
some of the tunes. I heard. I must admit, I'm not like an OG. I got in to y'all like after what happened, so wasn't able to go and catch any of the gigs live or anything like that. But I've heard of you. I've tuned in.
Well, the quality of the equipment is really what I'm here to talk about today. We're not necessarily, saying, oh, well, we expect everybody to be rabid listeners and hangers on and all that sort of thing. I'm just saying we've been in the business of refining some of the techniques used in Electrovox for quite some time now. And I think we could provide you with some equipment that would be of a higher quality, better broadcast quality, maybe reach further audiences, maybe have conversations with people a little further away than some of the techniques that are, of some of the more commonplace pieces of equipment.
Makes sense to me. Let's roll some dice about it.
Yeah, let's do that. So I have no idea where Adelaide's voice has gone at this point. I'm really desperately trying not to dig into Con Air here.
Do whatever your heart tells you, my dear.
Hey, you never want to go full Nick Cage.
Never go full Nick Cage. It's a bad idea. Even Nick Cage doesn't want to go full Nick Cage. So, what sort of dice should we roll about it?
Well, I can see this is feeling to me like a compel commerce. But you can float some other options. If that's not in your favor, you can team up. You can get one of your friends to also help, although that also puts them in the line of fire for receiving stress if things go wrong.
True. I'm not great in commerce, although I do have a level in compel.
Mm-hmm.
I've
This is
already
a
used my
standard
force-
one, though. It's not too tricky for now.
Yeah.
I also have a pip in compel.
Hmm.
But I feel like my thing is more like you wanted to intimidate the shit out of the guy.
Yeah, I'm not feeling that one.
Hmm. Okay, we can just do the regular roll.
Okay.
If
I
you
don't
wanted
think
to
Dash
do
got
it
two
towards
more.
crime, I have 2 pips in crime.
I think the domain may change if the subject changes. If you get me. Currently, we're sitting in a kind of commerce domain, but we could shift it to crime. We could shift it to occult. Depends what you feel like doing.
Dash, do you have anything that you could maybe add to this, or perhaps even I'll put it out? Well, maybe, I don't think we need to do a devil's bargain yet. I'm sure one will come up.
Dash's domains are currently high society and occult, so
Okay.
it'll probably come up later, but I don't think it fits at this point.
And for filling in clocks, I don't like making the same roll twice, so having diversity amongst y'all and how to approach it is a good idea.
All right. Well, we'll just go with the standard die plus the 1 for my compel then.
Marvelous. Hey, and you do it.
I will take it.
Beautiful. He listens intently. All right. I mean, so what you're telling me is that you've got some insights into how you're rocking things, and you want to sell that information to me?
Information, hardware, maybe get you in contact with some people that we've been in contact with previously to get some more difficult to manufacture parts.
Well,
Supplies.
that's really flattering, but we actually are not too bad for supplies at the moment. We've there's a beat longer than feels quite comfortable. Obtained a new supplier who's been helping us out with our enterprise at the moment, so new components, not too bad, and it's given us the room to start working on some new stuff that we're very excited about.
Really? Well, that's good to hear. Also done a little, well, I say a little, quite a bit of work with the various unions in the area, and I'd had a little fly in my ear, a little bee in my bonnet, perhaps, about perhaps y'all maybe laid off some of your research folks. So I was kind of trying to pursue that as an opportunity for both of us.
His expression hardens a little.
At which part, I should ask?
Once you start saying "B" in your bonnet, and he's kind of he picks up on that pretty quickly. Turns out this man has a way with words. How surprising. Now, this feels like we're having a slightly different conversation.
Perhaps.
All right then. So, you're saying that you want to be selling me some stuff? Yeah, that's fine. Maybe a little loud. There we go. And that if we're not interested, you want to go and stick your foot in the door in a way that could potentially make my doing business a little harder. We don't need to go and do all of that, do we?
I don't see a reason why we have to do it the hard way.
He does not like this particular tack in terms of getting to strike a deal. The next roll made here, whatever role you would all like to take, will be challenging. It'll be a little more difficult as he's a little bit more defensive about being threatened.
Well, me threatening?
I'm just, but still. Please, would somebody like to go and make the next step in this? Dash, you've definitely signed the thing by now. Would you like to
Yeah,
be involved?
There'll be a
So-
wafting of the record, and she'll interrupt the awkward moment somewhat casually and come. There you go, Mr. Sorry, it was Mr. Umbar, wasn't it?
Yes, Cole Lumber. Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time to sign it.
Perhaps I say your daughter might be interested. Well, I've got a performance. Sorry, Tom, remember which character. Dash has a performance coming up in quite soon, she'll say. I'd love to perhaps see if I can arrange. Perhaps see if Dash can arrange a ticket or some seating for yourself and your daughter.
Cole blinks in surprise. Oh.
Should lean forward. Dash is very fond of her fans, and she also Dash wants to make sure that they enjoy themselves.
Yeah. It's not that he disbelieves you, but the amount of on guard this man has like slowly and exponentially increased the longer this conversation has gone on. But hey, you have the tools to make people do what you want. Would you like to use them?
I'm just having a look through. So a lot of my stuff requires prep generally.
We
That's
can. Did I kind of talk about the idea of putting in flashbacks into this? No. It's fucking fine. I would let you do a 1d3 stress for a previous flashback to say that you've done some prep prior to.
Okay.
I want to let you actually use your abilities, right?
No, that's a
Yeah.
good chat. So yeah, we'll have a flashback as probably cut to the morning. And Dash knew that we were going out to do investigations and things today. A lot of the daily rituals and routine, quite frankly, horrific magic she puts herself through to look as different as she does and layer herself with all sorts of charms and the like. One of which is her core glamour ability, which is a cocktail of probably, semi-legal black magic, which effectively changes her appearance slightly to the onlooker to be who they would think would be their ideal. And I like the idea it's probably set slightly passive on most times with the option for a few trigger words to actually trigger it.
Well, yes and that. Because we've talked previously about magic being cycles that can be primed and then fire or misfire, you have done about 80% of the ritual, but to look like a person, to look like the desire of a person, you kind of need to see or know the person first, and you have not previously met Cole Umber. However, you have spent most of your day with this glamour ritual partially complete, and in the period of time where you were looking away, signing this record, you've managed to get more of a gist of this man, and now you know what you need to do.
So I think the glamour core, rather than the more attractive of this, I think he's going to almost try see part of his daughter in Dash, and it'll sort of more override his sense of caution that he wants to do something. This is something major for his family.
Oh, absolutely, darling. I would love for you to go and roll me 1d3 mind stress.
Yeah.
You've had to sit in this state of unbeing all day until you complete the spell, and the unease of not feeling like a complete person for an extended period of time until the spell fires is not pleasant on your physiology or psychology.
No. Oh, we 2, which Dash's mental protection
is reduced to 1. Lucky you. Okay.
We shall go and make some sort of roll.
Yes. This is ultimately this is still challenging, but you're gaining an additional die here, so it kind of cancels out. So feel free to. What are we talking about here? This is clearly a compel.
I think I'm going to lean on occult because it's going to be. We've not had an occult roll yet, and this is
Sure,
definitely
compel occult is a
using-
new role for this situation. I will accept it.
Okay. So that'll be number of dice will be
Your
3.
base plus, if you have 1 in compel and 1 in the cult, that will be 3 total. Ooh, okay.
Spicy.
He
Right.
looks past the Jash's golden black eyes and obviously sees the girl behind them.
Hmm. Uncanny. You lean in, and the camera kind of stays in like his point of view, and just kind of zooms in and further in and further in into like the blacks of your scleras, and within that space there is you, there is his daughter, and there is just something else that sits in there. A very almost primal feeling of both performance and wanting to be heard. And that primal force deep within your eyes says, well, you're going to give this lady everything she wants. You wouldn't be able to live with yourself if you didn't. And the camera pulls back. Cole Umber blinks a couple times. Yeah. No, thanks for gracing us with your presence. I've left you standing this entire time. I'm so sorry. Would you like to sit down? Do you want like a drink or food or whatever? We can get somebody to fetch something for you if you like.
Dash would quite enjoy a drink. But I'd love to see a little bit more of your workshop and
Yeah,
we are here.
no, of course. I can't believe I didn't offer that immediately. I'm so fucking incompetent. Yes, finding you somewhere to sit and relax. You deserve luxury, clearly, and this place is garbage. So I need to. And he trails off and he wanders into the back. We need to get her some tea now. And there's like
Amazing.
a murmuring on the other side and yelling from Cole. And he comes back with a battered but quite pretty metal tea set.
I'm just going to pause there or rewind for 1 second.
Sure.
Just a minor detail, because Bask knows Dash very well. You'll look after he goes, there's a shudder sort of passes over Dash. She did not like doing that at all. That is magic she is not very fond of.
Okay.
Yeah. He comes back with the
Boss
tea
wouldn't
set.
do anything in this. Yeah, Bass wouldn't do anything in this moment, but mental note for later.
Yeah.
And prostrates himself before you, offering the tea set to you. I can't offer anything better than this. If you don't want this and never want to see us again, I fully understand, but please accept even this. Thank you, please.
Thank you, Cole. Dash appreciates it.
You wanted a tour. I mean, there's nothing here. We sell junk, and everything I've worked on here is pointless ultimately. But I don't know why you would even care. But I can explain it. I don't need to explain anything to you. You know more than I could ever. Fuck. He gets up. He is starting to panic slightly.
Hey man, it's all right. Listen, we're just. Yes, I think it would be a fantastic idea if you take us on a tour of your shop.
Is this? I imagine you put your hand on his shoulder to kind of calm him down. Is that the kind of action you're taking, or are you just saying this?
I think that Adelaide would, like, that is definitely an instinctive thing that Adelaide would do, but he's also respectful enough of people who've been through some shit, as somebody who has been through some shit, that he won't make contact if he notices that this guy's going to flinch away from that contact.
He doesn't flinch, but he turns around and looks at you, and his eyes are plaintive and openly weeping, and he is so surprised that these actions are coming out of, like, he's acting this way and saying these things like it caught him entirely blindsidedly.
Then I will just give him a friendly, like, squeeze of, you know, hey friend, you're still here.
Yeah, so you're in Soto, only you can hear this, Adelaide. You needed to strike up a deal, right? Is it that or the tour you want first? I need to do the right thing, or I think I might die.
Let's do the deal.
Yes.
Let's do the deal.
Yes, of course. He rummages around behind the desk, draws out a piece of paper and everything. Is like, this is and the letterhead has like the Hive's insignia on it, the paperwork, and he basically draws up a thing. What do you want, Adelaide, here? What do you want him to write in the terms of the accord dealt between you and between the ligature and Small the Widest?
Ooh, we have a bigger opportunity here. I don't know if so Adelaide's thought process to this point had previously been just to kind of create a business deal where we could sell stuff to them at favorable rates. But knowing what he has seen about the Hive here and how dodgy this guy was about the kind of research they were doing, do you think it would be reasonable for him to, you know, say maybe we have the parts exchange, but we also want to, kind of share some of our knowledge if you'll share some of your knowledge that you've gleaned?
Knowledge exchange, of course. It's easiest thing in the world to write that down. Thanks for giving me direction on this matter. And he writes it up.
Okay.
And it is on the kind of like carbon-backed paper, which will automatically make a copy, and hands a copy to you, and he has a copy for his own files. I will let you into the back of the ligature. It is a very humble establishment, but we hope it is to your liking, Mrs. Dacia Locklear. And he opens up and shows you into the back space.
The second we step in, Bounce will take this opportunity to kind of wander away from the group and kind of go into search mode.
You don't need to roll for this. It is a pretty open area. It's actually quite large. Clearly, the way it was partitioned is to kind of keep the front shop area pretty tight and then give room for the workshop in the back. Excuse me. And it definitely feels empty because there are not many people here. You see a man in a pork pie hat working at the back of the workshop. Simultaneously to that, Cole Umber gives a very actually quite detailed and accurate explanation, but hurried like he is trying to outspeed something, explanation of the technology that they've been working on. Which I'll give first, and then we can handle Ben Whitworth, if that's okay.
Yep.
In summary, they have been working on something called the electrogram, which is using a mixture of the typewriter printing and Electrovox broadcasting to send Electrovox signal to an automated typewriter, being able to automatically convert the audio designed for speech but potentially other matters into text.
Wanky.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know if it would even, if people would even care about it, but I don't know. It just, there's a big confluence of everything that I'm interested in. And he looks at Dash and tries to gauge her expression of how interested she is in this topic.
She'll ask her, can it send a facsimile of an image?
I'm so sorry, but under current circumstances, it can only really do text. We don't have the development time or funding to push for full images yet. I know that's really disappointing. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Everything needs a chance to develop. Interesting. Good that you've at least you've considered it.
Yeah. In fact, one of our lads is working on the prototype right now. Hey, Whitworth. He looks up down the corridor as blacksmith. You are, I assume, simultaneously approaching, walking towards the end of the row.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And at the end of the row, you see a man in a pot pie hat and glasses. The same man. The exact same man.
Okay.
Unmistakable, even.
So here's the thing.
Mhm.
As the blacksmith walks up to him, he's not trying to be menacing. He probably looks angry, just to be honest and fair.
Mm-hmm.
If he's able to get up to him, he would like to slowly but firmly put his hand around this man's neck to stop him from screaming, but also just squeeze enough so like maybe the air starts to get cut off.
You, please give me a challenging resist occult roll, please.
Oh boy!
So, tallying up things as per usual, but you are removing 1d10.
I have nothing.
Okay.
I have no resist. I have no occult.
This is fine.
What about your tattoos?
I think the fact that you symbolically have no dice in this situation is I think fine. You're not going to roll stress for this. Deep within you, you get a flashback to you impacting this person and him exploding into nothing and how that felt. You cannot bring yourself to touch this man.
That seems fair. Yeah. Trauma is trauma. Yeah.
Circumstances would need to change quite significantly.
If that's the case, probably as I'm walking towards him and I have this thought to do that, and then the trauma happens, I will just stop and stand perfectly still.
Mm-hmm. And as you stop and stand still, we hear in the background Cole Umber being like, Whitworth. And Ben Whitworth turns around and says, if I remember the voice from before. Oh gosh, give me a second. So, you're going to need to do this for me. You're going to need to help me out, Sheila. Last session.
Oh, was this the same guy?
It is that guy's voice.
I believe he was in this sort of area.
In this sort of area, or a bit nasally. We're in this space. It's an approximation. It's fine. All right. Sorry. Did you need something? Oh, you're tall. Looking at blacksmith. Can I help you? Do you need something? Boss is calling.
But I know I can't touch him.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Like, your feelings about this man have not changed. You know, you've not suddenly stopped wanting to have him leave or whatever. But yeah, physically touching him is currently very difficult for you.
I think the blacksmith will just go, "What did you do to me?"
Do to you? I'm sorry, but I don't think we've met. My name's Ben Whitworth, if that helps. He offers a hand for you to shake.
I will draw out my sledgehammer.
Oh my god.
What did you do at the roost?
Could Dash cut in at this point?
Of course.
Excuse me.
Bask. I think you're mistaking. Dash thinks you're mistaking him for someone else.
He will just turn completely to Dash and go, "It's him. It's exactly him."
She'll shake her head. The eyes are wrong. It's
Dacia Locklear. It is this man.
Oh.
The exact same man.
I don't remember. Did Adelaide lay eyes on this guy?
You have all seen him. You were all there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I think Dash is meaning more in a spiritual way than a physical way. She's assuming that physically.
Dacia Locklear. It is the same man.
Oh. Right. Dash suddenly stops, looking suddenly surprised, doubtful, and on the defensive.
Bask.
Dollars.
As Dash calls out to you and you turn around and Dash says, "I don't think this is the same person," then hesitates. You hear the clattering of metal. Ben Whitworth has scarpered out of the building. There is a loud slam as a back door to the warehouse is kicked open.
Oh, cool. He's not here now, so I don't have to be afraid about not touching him. I'm gonna chase fucker down.
Good choice. You give me a sec while we shift scenes. How are we all doing?
Adelaide is absolutely going to join you on this.
As one should. I strongly recommend. I strongly recommend that all y'all fucking hustle. This is the only lead you've got.
Yeah. I think what Dash is going to do is very quickly, not to call and say, "Thank you very much for your time." Dash does need to run, I'll say.
Now, do I have something high tempo enough for the matters at hand? I maybe do. Oh, this works.
You got Tank by the seatbelts in there?
I would be sent to Twitch jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get a shot of back alley streets as and the sound of like panting and a first person view bobbing up and down as like footsteps hammer through the back streets of Duskfall. There's like a running through a puddle, and the vision, the very brief flash of a man in the reflection before it's distorted by a sensible work shoe splashing into it, gives the suggestion that it's Ben Whitworth, but also just a bizarre shadow outline of a man. In the background, we hear yelling. Familiar voices, we've heard them across the time. Blacksmith, what are you yelling as you are chasing Ben Whitworth through the streets?
I gotta go through my Rolodex of responses. Hold on. Probably just come back here and answer me.
He does not answer. He just continues to run.
Damn! I thought that'd work.
I know, right? Dash and Adelaide are also in pursuit, and funnily enough, Reed, knowing where your allies would be today, you, after your arrangement, made your way from the Church of the Weeping Lady to Crowsfoot with the intent of going to the ligature. You were a couple blocks away, and a man barrels past you, one that's so familiar, you swear you've seen him before.
Do I recognize him, or is it going by too fast?
It's almost... It's not so much what he looks like, but what it feels. Ocean magic. So powerful. Like the moon can move the tide and the water moves with it.
I think Reed, frozen in time, considers two of their own techniques, and recalling the caustic words of Reverend Bergamot about letting demons loose, but also feeling extremely condescended to. Their pride, I think, is going to make them, as this person passes, I want to cast a healing spell on him.
Okay.
And I don't care what that does. I only want to create a bond between me and him as he exists right now.
Okay. Well, we know that all of your kind of like healing spells operate on you taking 1d3 mind stress by default, so please do that for me.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Usually when you cast spells as part of your abilities, because you're doing ocean magic or like religious magic in Spire, you take 1d3 mind stress to do it. So if you wouldn't mind doing that for me, please.
Of course.
Now.
That's a 3.
Thank you. That is the difference between, mechanically at least, ocean magic and radio magic, or Electrovox magic in this, is that Electrovox magic you roll for. Ocean magic you do not roll for, you just take the stress. So, under this circumstance, you don't need to do anything else. What is the nature of this healing spell that you cast on this man fleeing from you, or past you, rather?
I think in the moment that this man passes by Reed, there's a light going from the sun part of their mask into the moon part, and it's almost as if the man passes like some sort of finish line. Like this is, you've triggered something, and maybe the man's gonna run a little faster, is a little more in breath instead of out of breath. And Reed's, I don't know, would Reed be toppling over because of the backlash?
I think it feels like when a smaller tributary stream connects to a larger flow of water, and that small flow of water is immediately pulled into the larger stream, absorbed into its mass. It's now one entity, and for a short period of time, while this man is in physical proximity to you, you feel connected to something bigger, something deeper, something vaster than you have ever possibly considered.
Can I commune or interact with it while I am here?
Reed, Miss Codature, how could you possibly converse with nothing? The others catch up to you.
I think Reed is standing stock still. Light cascade, like a different kind of light cascading out of their moon mask. And just a dark fog almost covering the sun mask. Any luck at the place? Any luck at the place?
Do I know where Ben has run to?
You've been following him, and following him close enough where you can intuit that Ben just ran past Reed.
Okay. If I know the specifically where Ben went, I am ignoring Reed entirely and just plowing ahead like a charging rhino.
Okay.
In fact, Dash is probably is not dressed for sprinting. Is now massively out of breath because she spent the last 6 months not doing much exercise. It's not really dancing. We'll catch up to Reed. Dash thinks it's him, but perfectly masked. Couldn't sense a taste of magic about him. Oh, I used to be able to run. What's wrong with Dash? Used to be able to run. What's wrong with Dash? Okay.
We gotta catch up. Come on.
She'll look to Reed. Keep on Basque, Adelaide. Reed, I think the rooftops might be faster. Less clutter, less street. If you want to follow Dash, Dash will keep you up on the what happened.
Lead the way. I'm curious to hear. I also need to tell you what happened at the church. Things are not going our way.
Could I impose a roll into this, oh dear GM? I would like some sort of sneak roll for trying to find a route that's going to cut off around the. Normally, this in original Blades, this had been applying gymnastics and chains to leap up onto the roofs, but I suspect it's now probably more looking for scaffolds and fire escapes. Ooh, foreshadowing. I think I put some in the scene ages ago. To maybe find a way across the rooftops where we can actually cut them off, so it requires less physical fitness and more thought to it.
Sounds good. Give me a sneak low society roll, please.
I'm in the mood for some devil's bargains, if anyone's got any they'd like to add.
Oh, you are
yes.
absolutely getting an additional D10. You will run into a person you do not want to run into before you run into Ben.
Ooh, I have another one. You get a D10, but Reed, like you There's an emergency ladder, and it breaks once you get on it, and it leaves Reed behind.
Ooh. Oh, both are tempting.
Can I add a third one?
Oh,
So you mentioned earlier that, or at least you've mentioned in the past that, maybe you have to deal with some paparazzi stuff at this point. So the sight of you running up a fire escape and across the rooftops might lead to some reputation issues.
some hard choices. I think we'll go for Nathan just because it might add a new NPC to the scene, I'm guessing.
Okay. Go and give me that dice roll, baby.
So that'll be 3 from a sneak and a low society and bonus. Oh no, sorry, it'd be 3. That's 2 pips and 1. What's it?
Oh, fabulous.
Perfect.
Jesus.
It's sometimes, it's almost as if you were that scruffy girl in bandages. That was only a year ago, but it feels like longer. The work you've done to yourself has kind of extended your past like taffy. But occasionally you remember what it felt like. You run up and across the roofs. These are routes you've traveled before. Some of them different in the intervening year. Many of them the same. When things break, people like to return to old habits. And, well, security is a lot lighter up here. How do you feel as you're kind of like running across the rooftops? Freer than you've maybe felt in a while?
Adrenaline rushing. I feel that Dashed hair, maintained hair is probably flowing a bit freer than it was. And she'll almost be elated as she flies from rooftop to rooftop, sliding down scaffolds. She did this for years. This is second nature. I think to not quite hit the devil's bargain I missed, but she's probably leaving Reed behind a bit. Because she's very proficient at this. And it's all coming back.
Before long, you managed to catch sight of Ben Whitworth. He, well, the fool that he is, has managed to run down a back alley and, well, this one, which you knew, and unfortunately he seems to have not, is a dead end. Upon reaching that dead end, he has his hands on his knees. He is panting desperately, trying to gasp for additional air and make his limbs move, but it feels that he has reached his limit. Catching him now would be so easy. You hear a click to your right ear. Freeze. You know this man, Detective Abel Islington. You saw him only yesterday. Oh, that's right. He was investigating alongside the Bluecoats. Well, it seems we have both managed to follow the same lead to a similar conclusion. How fortuitous for both of us.
Dash hates guns. Put it down. I'm not going to do anything to you.
Now, I know you wouldn't. I mean, that would be very foolish of you. But it does look like you're going to interfere with a wanted man. I'm afraid Ben Whitworth is coming with me.
Dash doesn't think that's a man. Dash thinks that's something else. Something a lot scarier.
I don't care what he is. He is under arrest from the Bluecoats, and I will be taking him in for questioning summarily.
Can Reed show up?
In a second.
Okay.
You see the two figures. Like, you see this figure.
How loud is this exchange?
It is speaking volume. It seems that Abel Islington is not concerned about Ben Whitworth hearing him. Either he's, in his kind of understanding of this, realizes that he's at a distance where he cannot be heard at speaking volume, or just does not care whether Ben Whitworth knows or not that he's under arrest, is unclear. Now, you are going to be a good little girl and get out of my way while I go and arrest this man, and I suppose the rest of your enterprise is in hot pursuit.
I think there's probably in a change of mood. Dash will smile. So Dash is almost tempted to let you try and see what he does to you.
That's very funny. Okay. Are you going to provoke him into doing this?
No, I think Dash is going to try and delay him just slightly long enough for everybody else to turn up.
Sure, you don't need to roll for that.
We'll say something to the effect. Inspector, the detective, this man, this entity, is something unknown of in the city. It's not something that can just be kept caged with bars.
Detective Abel Islington smiles at you. Oh, I know. After all, being able to do all that, something that would require an ordinary person months of constant chanting and carving and rolling around. In an instant like that. That goes beyond anything that a human could do. Positively devilish behavior. At this point, the rest of you, or at least if Reed is also running across the rooftops, you are in a position to catch up to them now.
Did they hear devilish behavior?
Yes, that sounds great. Yeah, no, you heard that.
Reed turns to Dash, confirms her expression, just looks for anything as they run up. What is the Dash signal?
De-escalate, I think. It's like almost it's like slight shake of the head, like, or a no violence kind of. If she's seeing like a twitch of bass going for the hammer, or
I think Reed shows up, sees this Islington, hears devilish behavior, but chooses to believe Dash's directions, and goes, Detective Islington, what a strange place to find you in, but no place is strange enough to express the church's gratitude for the assistance the Bluecoats have given us. Please let me tell you all about Bunker House and the recent improvements.
He looks at you, and you can tell he's paying attention to you, but not listening to you, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
He's observing everything around him dispassionately and distantly, like it's not addressed at him. It's just data in the room.
Okay. I want to shine my sun lamp at a random spot and see if that throws him off.
It's weird. His body does not change. It's not like he looks away, but you can tell he understood, like he caught that information. And he looks at Dash. And Dash's body language exchange, imperceptible to read, to ordinary people. And in fact, Blacksmith, you catch up. And what kind of energy are you bringing to this room? You know,
Real quick. I thought they were on the roof.
Yeah. We see you down below. I think in
Okay.
terms of at street level, you've been tracking him quite well. Whether it's
Okay, I'm
adrenaline
just
or
making
something
sure I
else.
didn't enter, teleport to the roof somehow.
You good.
Okay.
You good. But yeah, what kind of energy are you bringing?
I think the animal description earlier kind of holds, as he just slides in the frame, looking down this dead end. You just see him kind of panting. And is there anything in these alleys that I could use to maybe knock down and block the exit?
Yeah, there's like because this is kind of like 1920s style. There's like New York style, like big metal garbage like dumpsters that we don't get in the UK, but I know what they look like because pop culture.
Okay.
And you know, like the kind of fire escapes that go up a side of a building that are like ladders and a bunch of zigzaggy stairs, all that shit.
I'm processing. Hold on.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, we'll escalate while you're thinking. You arrive at the scene behind Ben Whitworth, who is still kind of panting and kind of looking at the ground. And that arrival makes Abel Islington's eyes flick into the alleyway and back. Oh, I understand. You don't want to harm him. You're scared of what will happen if you do. To Dash.
Dash wants to understand what he is.
I wasn't present for the report. It's funny, he says, taking a surprisingly easy stance, like he's relaxed. It's funny. When the reports came in of what happened at the Renaissance Roast a few days ago, they were all very strange. The accounts from the people who witnessed it, and there was a point where they just didn't have anything to describe. And it was unusual. I wasn't sure whether that was something that happened to their memory or something sensory, or whether they were all paid a very large sum of money and were sworn to secrecy. But there's a very unusual gap after Ben Whitworth, I assume, was tackled. And now, with how scared you are of it happening again, I would love to see what would happen for myself firsthand. He stops leveling his pistol at you, Dash, and points it into the alleyway.
Okay. So the blacksmith has a singular idea.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to block the exit. He wants to be inside the alley, but block the exit behind him.
Mm-hmm.
The two ways that you've presented to me that I would achieve that is either A, just drag a big ass dumpster behind him. The other way, which I think would be way cooler and more in line with the freak of nature that the blacksmith is, if I could pull down one of the fire escapes, like the entire structure behind him.
You know what? Give me 1d3 blood stress, and you can do that without rolling.
Hell yeah.
Would it
actually-
be, is it blood
And in
stress?
fact, I believe that's how your ability
Mind-
works. You can deal yourself
It's
blood
mind
stress to do...
stress.
Ah, sure.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So that would be a 3.
Fabulous. Go take 3 mind stress as you tear down a fire escape and leave that twisted line of metal separating this dead end of an alleyway from the rest of Doskville.
I love my big beefy boy.
Mm-hmm. And it makes obviously a very loud sound, and Ben Whitworth starts and looks around and sees you.
Real quick, has Adelaide caught up?
Oh, sure. I don't know whether you're on the ground or on the roofs, but by this point...
I was on the ground.
Sure.
Or Adelaide was, I should say. And I'd like to kind of pause here because there's something I would love it if narratively it could line up.
Okay. Tell me. Tell me.
Adelaide being Adelaide has just seen this blue coat point a gun at our target, yes?
I think as the clattering goes down of this fire escape, and almost immediately after that, Blacksmith, you have a glint in your peripheral vision and glance up, and then you see Abel Islington, Dash, and Reed up there, and the pistol being pointed down into the alley below. And Adelaide, simultaneously, you can also... Do you want to kind of see that before or after the fire escape comes down, I guess is the question.
I wanted to see it before the fire escape comes down because I think that Adelaide is already stressed in this situation because this is we saw his reaction the last time. He already had hand on weapon grip. And I think it would be narratively interesting if it lined up with the moment that comes down, that he fires his pistol at the detective.
All right. Yes. Good. Yes.
All right,
okay.
You're way too excited for this.
I mean, we haven't really had action scenes in this, and we're starting to run out of time, so I don't know how much of an action scene we're going to be having now, but we're reaching a very interesting and cool stopping point. Okay. Combat in this is pretty straightforward. I reminded myself of it the other day, and it's already left my head again. Because I'm very smart, you see.
Sorry, it just comes down to everyone loves shooting Islington.
I mean, yes, you have no idea how appropriate you trying to shoot Detective Abel Islington is, Adelaide. Let's see if somebody can beat me to it, but I need to double check what skill you roll for kind of attacking people.
Fight?
Well, whatever it is,
There is just fight, isn't there? Oh yeah, there is just fight. God.
Yeah.
I am probably going to gain mastery on this because I actually have the fight the power. When you engage in violence against an enemy who is part of the order domain, you may do so with mastery.
Please give me a fight order roll, please. And then I guess all fucking hell is going to break loose.
Now, should I be using order or should I be using crime because I'm fighting against order?
I think if you're to get the benefit from you targeting an order domain thing, it would have to be an order roll. Makes sense to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then let's take a look at this because I also need to remind myself of some things. I.e., what does having mastery actually mean?
Oh, you get an additional die.
Oh, you get an additional die. Okay,
yeah.
Good. Well, that's good because I actually don't have points in fight.
Okay, well.
Or order, for that matter.
I mean, so there's options here. A devil's bargain can be made. Somebody can help under the circumstance. Help rolls are a thing. You get a D10 for somebody helping. It's only one person. They will also suffer stress and fallout if you fail.
So real quick, does me ripping down the fire escape not help in some fashion?
Oh, I'm more than happy to consider Basker's helping in this role.
I would also like to help upon seeing the police draw a gun at, someone who we can presume is innocent.
Yes, I will mechanically only allow the 1d10.
Gotcha.
Sure. Okay, so at the very least, we're up to 3d10s right now. I also need to check tags on my equipment because my pistol has the unreliable tag.
Okay.
But all of my attacks gain, what was the brutal tag?
Where you roll twice and take the higher damage result.
Ooh, lovely. Okay. And what does unreliable?
Yeah, finding that for you.
Yep.
When you fail in an action using this equipment, it cannot be used for the remainder of the situation. So don't
Oh, yeah,
miss.
that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so I've got 3d10. It sounds like.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and roll some bones.
That is a
Okay.
mixed success. You do hit. Please roll the dice to deal damage with your gun. As it happens, Detective Abel Islington has HP.
Oh, that didn't work.
Ooh.
Okay. So I'm just gonna roll a 2d6, so he takes 4
Okay.
for that
All
brutal
right.
hit.
Please describe the shot as it hits Detective Abel Islington.
I think this is a reflexive shot because of how stressed Adelaide is. It's he was gripping the grip of this pistol very much, kind of at hip, and saw the glint of another weapon and drew and fired in one motion. How fatal is this shot?
It does not kill this man.
It does not kill him. Okay, cool. So that helps.
It deals him a solid amount of damage. 4 is not nothing.
Okay. So this shot goes off, and I think it's going to catch Islington like somewhere on his arm near the pistol, because of the fact that this was a reflexive shot. He wasn't looking for like center of mass or anything like that. It was just, I see a glint, I need to remove that glint. I know what that looks like, kind of a thing.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
There is as the shot is leveled, we get like a POV shot of Abel Islington as he's leveling the pistol at Ben Whitworth. There's like some wavering as he's lining things up, but we can tell as the audience that this shot is not going to miss even at this distance. It's just a pistol. It's not even a rifle. And when it feels like the crosshairs are steadied, and once Abel Islington's arm is steadied, it is steadied. There's a slight squeeze of the trigger, and then a shot rings out. The screen cuts to black, and cuts back in again as we see, on a wider shot now, Abel Islington's right hand is completely blown off. The gun scattering somewhere into the distance.
Holy shit.
Detective Abel Islington is less injured than you'd hope and more calm than you'd like. He turns to see the direction of the shot, sees Adelaide, sees Blacksmith having pulled this barrier down. Oh, I see. So, I guess you're resisting arrest.
No.
His other hand. Oh god, that's very loud. There we go. Sorry.
You survived though.
His other hand intact, shiny, in fact, metal. He pulls up his sleeve, using his teeth, realizing that his other hand is indisposed. It goes all the way up to the elbow, and there's a click and a whirring, and then a row of serrated blades start whirring from the palm of Abel Islington's left hand. He put fucking chainsaw in there.
Fuck.
And that's where we're going to end the session today.
Hey.
Damn.
So. This has been a lot. This has been a lot. This has been a lot. A thing that we need to do is that we need to do a Fallout roll for Henley
Yeah.
before we forget.
We can just go past that. We don't gotta worry about that. It's fine.
No, I think we let the bush shine. Let the bush shine.
Yeah. Let me double check how we roll Fallout for NPCs. 23.
So, do I do it because I put him in danger? Does
I do believe it is a GM roll to do. Right. It is different stress levels. I see. And we're going to read this out because it's for my benefit and for anybody else who's kind of like listening to this or whatever. You can ask an NPC bond to perform a favor on your behalf, something they wouldn't normally do, which puts them and the relationship under stress and danger. They're under no obligation to do what you ask. The GM might ask for a check to get to the comply, but if they do, they incur stress based on the scale of the favor asked. So asking Henley to kind of intervene in that kind of manner was not especially stressful. This was him doing his job, but it was a dangerous aspect of his job, but it's one that he's willing to do. So he only takes 1 stress. We are still going to go and do a Fallout roll, though.
Come on. I taught him well. I taught him how to roll 1.
9. It is above 1, so he does not suffer fallout from being told very firmly by Bergamot to quit his job. If he had failed that roll, he might have done.
Yeah.
Okay. While we decompress, thank you, everybody. Let's go around the table and all that jazz and do the kind of like, comments and kudos and all that fun stuff. I will give my comments and kudos first. We had a conversation in the break about everybody being involved and what that does for pacing. And my, I guess, inner thoughts of like, oh, actual play shows need to be going. All this stuff needs to be happening. And there is lots of stuff happening, even if scenes aren't progressing super rapidly. And I think that works great. And it's because you are all giving such wonderful moments in scenes where we are all keen to linger and explore those scenes instead of rushing. And I really appreciate that. I think we've all kind of settled into the lo-fi horror that this has become, I guess. I really appreciate y'all being so eager for that. Thank you.
Hell yeah. My kudos goes to Nathan as Reverend Bergamoth, because I went in at that scene as Reed having to sort of like contest with religious power. And I had some setups, I had a plan there, but then that boss battle, he was just parrying my every move. It was crazy. Like I was scoring traps. I don't know, man. My controller was broken.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess it's this weird thing of like,
No, I love it.
Of parting the curtain here. We're doing a fair amount of. We're not necessarily scripting our scenes here, but there's a document that kind of has all the scenes we would like to see. And kind of working together to craft those scenes handy, but those are still at the mercy of dice rolls going our way or not. I was very like, you're gonna have to leave the scene without getting what you want, and I'm not prepared for that actually. But we both navigated that really, really well.
And I'm just glad I got to roll a 10 in the end.
Hell yeah!
I didn't lose. You didn't win.
Yeah. We're both worse somehow. Sheila, any comments and kudos?
So I want to say to Tom and or Dash, however you want to frame that at this point, that was a really delicious moment of kind of showing the relationship you have with your magic in that shop. Like just the moment of like, hey, this is something you are fully capable of, but that doing this is not a good time. You have to reach down and touch something that Dash is not comfortable with, and that's a lovely little of like story stuff that could be coming up for us later. Another piece of danger.
Yeah, I did love Nathan's take on how it affected the poor chap running the shop as well. It was just like, yep, no, this is exactly as horrific as I thought it might be.
I was getting very close to hitting frame by frame on that. I'm like, I don't know how much I want to push how broken you have made this man by critting your glamour roll on him. It was specifically because you crit. If you hadn't crit, it probably would have been a lesser effect, but it's like, oh no, it's too good.
Yeah. On similar notes, I might actually throw mine kudos over to Captain for the odd vulnerability moment of having, when he went over to engage with
Ben.
Yeah, and like not being able to do what you wanted to do and grab him by the throat, and it's like, no, this is just far too terrifying. It's like, oh no. Then the subsequent, how it affected the chase scene afterwards, so I just quite enjoyed that. It's very rounded as Bask is as a character.
I mean, I feel like all that really belongs to our GM who set that guideline.
You know, it's I've been reading a lot about the nature of acting being understanding the energy that your co-performers are giving, understanding that, and then being able to feed that back. So it is in response to the intent that, you know, you are not necessarily radiating killing intent, but when you're like, I'm gonna grab this man by the neck, and I'm like, okay, cool, I think we can definitely work with this, where it's kind of like, I know what you want to do, and I do want to give that to you, but it feels unlikely. Let's see if we can work in a circumstance where it can happen. And now it's led to this circumstance where in the imminent combat, you can choose to fully ignore Abel Islington and just wreck Ben Whitworth's day if you wanted to. But
let's see. Along those lines, both the Reverend and Reed, I thought, were fascinating, especially to me, who spends a lot of time with Reed, and just being told, don't kill, don't kill. To know that, oh, that's like deep ingrained religious stuff. That's interesting. Because I never really thought about it, honestly, and it's like, oh.
It's like, they're a medic, but it's like, no, there's a lot behind that, yeah. Thank you.
I did want to ask one question though. What if that sermon made someone vote Electrovox?
Oh sure, yeah. No, not all of you voted for ocean magic increasing off the back of that. Who voted Electrovox? Oh yes, yeah. Explain. I'm interested.
Because that was specifically Reed's question, and I was playing it in the way of like, this ocean magic is not sort of like a swerve or a paradigm shift, but rather is a curse and there is someone to blame. But at the same time, not going against the church's policy on Electrovox, you know?
Yeah, exploring one's complicated relationship with that kind of thing is, yeah. Because, again, to kind of part the curtain about scenes that could have happened but didn't, and it's fine that they didn't, there was potentially a conversation with Ms. Tate about how she felt about the circumstances at hand and things like that, and kind of, you know, oh, well, she's involved in this kind of space for community reasons, but also how much of that is her, how much of that is what the religion that she's in putting upon her, and that kind of space. But that didn't manifest this time. It could manifest in the future. We'll see.
Absolutely. I singled her out for a reason.
It might mean that she now needs to be making some moves herself, you know, that she's a bigger player than once thought. And actually, on top of that, to kind of wrap up a little comments and kudos before we move on, what are you excited? Y'all are excited to kind of encounter next time?
I am looking forward to how Reed is going to do in a battle scene.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you know, you could be operating support.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? I don't know, like, I don't know where the allegiances lie in that, in like a 2-kill combat.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Not for nothing, I don't think Detective Abel Islington would die very easily. But yes. I mean, who's to say? Who's to say how easy it is to kill Abel Islington?
I'll do my damnedest to keep him alive.
Marvelous. Well, that is.
What about the other people?
Oh yeah. No, nobody else gets opinions. Shut up. No.
I'm special.
No, please do tell me what y'all are excited for next time while I prepare.
I will say, of the stuff we talked about on this session, the discussion between Bosk and Dash, I think that'll be interesting to play out.
Yeah.
I predict a future session of just flashbacks the whole time.
Hey, those kind of scenes are pretty cool, where the kind of tension isn't in the action that's going on right now, but all the little flickers of stuff that was going on leading up to the moment. That shit can be pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm personally, that's going to be amazing. I think the bit screwing my mind is like how Ben Whitworth is going to be, because how he was to how I was expecting is completely different. I was expecting arrogant, unknowable and then not for some guy to panic and cheese. So, okay, no, this is but no, in a good way certainly. Expectations subverted. I like it.
He's just a little guy. Ah, nice. Sheila, do you have? Yeah.
I am interested to see A, what the hell is going on with Detective Islington, but also B, kind of get more information on, just like what's physically is going on. When you first said that his hand had come off, I was fully prepared for us to get some weird ocean magic shit, not for Cyborg. So what's going on there, and what does he know? Need to know.
Yeah, it's funny because I have a habit of in campaigns because I like. Oh God, this is roundabout, but bear with me. Osamu Tezuka, like the Astro Boy guy, liked having the same character designs appear in multiple separate things because he envisioned them as live action actors playing different roles in different stories. And I really like that. And as a result, I tend to have characters from previous tabletop campaigns and PCs and stuff show up again in similar, but not necessarily as the exact same person in other pieces. For those who tuned into Arcana Core back in the day, a lot of the characters in that were previously from other campaigns in things. And the players sometimes knew who they were and sometimes didn't. Detective Abel Islington is an existing character that I've played in something. So Tom and Ruben know what the fuck he's about. But you two, the fact that there are people here who don't make it very funny and interesting. You get to discover what the fuck his deal is.
Hell yeah.
The answer is he's awful,
fun.
but
I mean, yeah, fair.
marvelous.
There's two sides. There's just two sides to him.
Gosh, is there any more for future wishes, or are we wrapping up for today?
I want Reed and Dash to have a good conversation about demons.
Ooh, yes. Yes.
Hey, long heartfelt conversations are a way for you to go and remove your stress without having to suffer fallout. So, strongly recommended to find the time. Marvelous. Well, we're just going to do this. Whoop. So we have the credits scrolling. There we go. Thank you, everybody, both players at the table and who are tuning in both now, in the future, and in the past, if you're a time traveler, to session 3 of Chant of the Void Sea. I hope you've all enjoyed. To go back through our players today, we're going to go in reverse order this time. Captain Comic Geek, who are you? Well, you're an unknowable being. We established that at the start of the sesh, but is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, just, standard netizen. That's an old term that some people won't know what the hell it is.
Oh,
Great.
but I know, and I'm delighted.
Yeah, it's always fun to play. It's fun to get to explore these characters. I'm glad that we have fun and do some interesting things here.
Fabulous. Ms. Sheila Unthalis, where you at?
You can find me at Come and Go Tavern on either Blue Sky or Twitter, as well as at the Come and Go Tavern here on Twitch. I play a lot of tactics games, as well as a few other things. Plus, I've got a visual update coming to the streams on May 4th, first Saturday of the month.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been kind of slow dripping a few of the updates that are coming soon. And I look forward to seeing you all again and playing a lot more of this, because this is getting juicy.
Marvelous, marvelous. Tom.
Yes, I said, but just generally another dweller of the internet. You can probably find me at a pub when I'm not online. And yeah, very much enjoying these sessions. It's been a great campaign so far, and I'm looking to see how it all rolls together.
Yeah. Last but by no means least, the one and only Ruben Ferdinand.
6'0", and I've had my fill. Yeah, this was great. And for more tabletop stuff, just look on Twitter or Blue Sky Ski for Urban Friend Den. Thank you.
Heck yeah. And I have been your androgynous android, game shows from the future, caster / Nathan Blades. Yes, you can find me here, evidently. If you are interested in my game design stuff, you can find my games at theneoncaster.itch.io. Yes, I have now updated that URL. So, oh gosh, the credit scroll has the old URL. I need to fix that for next time. I did not notice. That's fine. I think it auto reroutes. I haven't fucked it up. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We should pass on the love. Let's go pass on the love to. Wow. Let's go pass on the love to Oswald McFly, VTuber friend, who is currently playing Binding of Isaac. We're gonna go and wish him well. Everybody scream, clap, and cheer for them as that raid is being prepared.
Yay!
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. That's exactly the energy that we need. Marvelous. Cool. That raid is preparing itself. You can catch us next on the channel next Thursday for what will be the end of the plot of Mega Man Battle Network 6. And then there'll be another stream for post-game, but I'm excited to actually go and see the end of that game. And have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, everybody. Farewell. Goodbye.
Bye.